My name is Alfred Ocansey. Welcome. This morning, Ghana's lithium find has come with it a conversation about whether or not the agreement on the table is what we deserve or whether it is the best that we can get under the circumstance. Conversations about we not going back and doing things the same way and expecting different results has got not just the Ghanaian people who know about the mining industry talking, but the community as well, where this lithium has been found, also asking questions that what exactly led to the 1% that they are being given as part of this lithium find. This morning, we have the details of the meat of this agreement that has come under scrutiny and why the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, makes the strong point that this is a good deal, as he indicated earlier in the week when he addressed the press, as against the demand for a better deal. This is what he said. Take a look.
July 2023. The approved policy includes provisions for an increase in the royalties rate for green minerals, an increase in state and Ghanaian participation in all green mineral operations to a minimum of 30%, just like Geodek and Gisdek, just like bauxite and iron ore, to a minimum of 30%. An enhanced local content and local participation, including listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and value addition and beneficiation for all green minerals in our country. It was based on this policy that we entered into negotiations with the company, leading to the signing of the mining lease. It is the first time in the history of our country that we have successfully negotiated for 10% royalties for any mineral, which is one of the highest for exploitation of any mineral across the globe. We have already secured a 19% state participation in this mining company, 19%, with a requirement to scale it up to a minimum of 30% Ghanaian participation through listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange for shares to be made available to Ghanaians and Ghanaian entities. What this simply will mean is that when it is all over, Barari DV Limited, the holder of this mineral right of lithium, Ghanaian and state participation will be 30%. Foreign participation will be a maximum of 70%. And for the first time in the history of our country, a mining lease contains provisions for the establishment of a refinery, that is value addition and beneficiation. This mining lease has provision which insists that a refinery will be established here in Ghana for processing of this lithium, this mineral. This has never happened. This is the first time.
Well, that's the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources there. It's historic, has never happened. But there's some detail in there which we'll be interrogating this morning. The required parliamentary approval to ratify this agreement has not been sought. He indicated that is going to be done. I'm going to be joined by a member of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. They're going to be charged with that responsibility of getting into the details of this particular deal when it comes before the House. So we'll get into the specific questions and concerns that have come up about this deal and what Parliament is going to be charged to do for and on behalf of the Ghanaian people. Still in the legal realm, the Attorney General's office succeeded in jailing the famous Chinese Galamsey kingpin, Aisha Wang, who was charged for engaging in illegal mining, also known as Galamsey. Aisha Wang will spend the next 4 years and 6 months in jail. In addition, she has to cough up about 48,000 Ghana cedis as fine. However, the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, is not happy with the sentence. He says the judge should have used a newer law to hand out her judgment. Now, he has served notice of appeal, but even before this AG's new position, the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Ocansey, spoke to journalists after the court ruling indicating they were satisfied. That was after the ruling. Take a look.
If you arrest someone and you charge him for committing an offense some time ago, if you are able to prosecute him successfully and he's to be sentenced, the sentence then should be the sentence that you can use. You cannot use the new regime. And so far the sentence then was to the fact that the maximum of 5 years, we think that's the right position of the law. We can also not amend our constitution at this stage, but that's the law even worldwide. At the time you commit the offense, the punishment there is what you are supposed to be given when you are convicted for that offense. We are aware of it. That's why we came to court, and we knew that the maximum that we could get would be 5.
Well, so that was the Deputy Attorney General, in fact, speaking on behalf of the Office of the Attorney General after the ruling. But then again, I think after going to bed, waking up the next day, there was a different thinking that this judgment has to be appealed. Is the judge to blame for the judgment or the prosecution for or how things played out? We'll look at the new law, Act 995, and if applied, and if this appeal by the Attorney General goes through, how many years Action 1 will be going in. Now, another organization that derives its mandate from the Attorney General, that's the Office of Special Prosecutor, has launched a search for 6 persons who engage in vote buying during the NPP's parliamentary primaries. That's what you see there on the screen. In constituencies where the party has no sitting MPs, also referred to as the orphan constituencies. He's saying that they have engaged in corruption and corruption-related offenses. But really, a number of lawyers have indicated that it's going to be a Herculean task for the special prosecutor proving corruption-related offenses in this. Is this going to be a wild goose chase or a needful quest to nip a dangerous phenomenon in the bud? Vote buying. Vote buying. We'll show you as we go on. The envelopes collected and so on. And to many, if this is not addressed, as we are seeing already, nefarious businessmen financing political party campaigns, galamsey operators, and so on, we may as well end up more and more selling our democracy to the highest bidder. That is it. These shall be our key points for this morning's discussion. Welcome. As always, you are an integral part of the conversation, so let's hear from you. I am Alfred Ocansey. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. We'll get into the conversation here on Key Points. Stay with us.
We watch the Premier League on Super Sport like we are in a stadium.
That was not an offside. Rashford was in an offside position, but he wasn't interfering with play. And Bruno scored.
This Christmas, dear, entertainment galore on DSTV. The content just go over you. Dial *759# to reconnect or stay connected now.
It's time for golden season. Time to try your luck. The rules are simple. You can place bets on any sports event. Get promotional tickets. Take part in prize draws. What's the season? It's golden season. Time to try your luck. Use the promo code to get your welcome bonus.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years. Gambling can be...
Yansempo! Yansempa! Yade bro!
The news never stops. If it's not breaking, developing, the news lends itself to significant analysis, broad context through explainers, and the features that give stories more life. That's what we offer on Weekend Central. News, features, analysis, the full package. Weekend Central, Saturdays and Sundays at 12 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
This Sunday on Hot Issues.
Why do you think Ghana is so poor?
So poor?
Ghana is poor, isn't it?
No.
we're a lower middle income country.
It will be an untrue conclusion to say that Ghana Beyond Aid is ongoing.
It's ongoing. We're turning around the corner.
What I'm saying is that their experiences are what they are telling us, that life is difficult because we haven't progressed as a country. They're telling you that their children have access to education. However, the quality of education, they are questioning.
No. We have the best result in our education trend since independence for secondary education. The best ever.
Hot Issues shows Sundays at 2 p.m. on TV3.
TV3, first in news.
Come January, the 34th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations will take place in Ivory Coast. 24 of Africa's best countries will converge to compete and battle it out for supremacy. With no debutants, this would be an assembly of richly experienced teams. The quality of display will be like nothing ever seen. Join us on AFCON Quest as we build up to a unique continental showpiece. Get updates on the history of the tournament, preparations of all teams, and the readiness of Ivory Coast to host the rest of Africa. AFCON Quest, your 2023 Cup of Nations hub.
AFCON Quest, coming soon on TV3.
Hi everyone, my name is Regina Van Helvet, and this weekend I will be on the Ladies Circle with a young lady who was in a relationship with a man, and the only reason why they were in that relationship was for financial benefits.
Sugar daddies, you're promising heaven and earth.
Yes.
People are relying on that promise. Somebody might rely on that promise and quit their job. If you find yourself in court, don't talk too much.
Regardless, it's everywhere. If they want to talk to you and woo you, they will woo you.
It's about finding the right woman that will stick with you from the point where you had nothing.
In this day and age.
Oh, there are people like that.
Oh.
Yes. Anita, come on. Sika, you are cheating.
Have you ever dated a broke boy?
Guilty. I'm still,
whoever you are.
The Ladies Circle shows this Saturday at 6 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Yaz Sanitary Pad,
Onga, Yumvita,
MTN,
Woodin,
Cowbell, Our Milk,
Gluta White.
He says he's desperate, he's frustrated, he's almost going out of his mind.
When I got to the Malang, he gave me a pot.
Okay.
And he said some incantations on it. Okay. At 12 a.m., I woke up. To my surprise, I saw a big snake.
The witching hour is from 12 to 3 a.m.
He just said that the father is not working and the mother too is at home. But that's not your responsibility to go and look for money out there. 17, you are even underage.
They will come in as an 18-year boy, 21, 20 years. Somebody
looking
said,
for things
looking
that
for
are
things that do not exist. That they themselves, their spirit is not even strong enough for. You don't have a child, you are not married. And you think the world is hard for you. Wait till those things come into your life. All these ascending masters, Jesus, Muhammad, the Buddhists, the Christians, all of them, the answer to a divine power.
Line, all power belongs to
all
God.
power belongs to God. So when you see someone,
I love that.
Confessions shows on Saturdays at 9:30 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by
MTN.
Eddie,
It's that time of the year again. 5 years of scintillating party experience for you at the 3FMOY party. Well, the 28th of December, we're bringing it back, rebranded, rekindled, reloaded, repackaged.
Fast, let's speed it up, my guy.
Guess what? It's happening on the 28th of December, 2023 at the Plush La Palm Royal Beach Hotel.
Invite your staff, come and give your best clients the most memorable experiences by buying a few tables. Join us at the 3FM All White Party.
Expect incredible live performances from top artists. I'm talking about Stoneboy, Manifest, KK Fusu, and Akwaba. Oh, and fire DJs on rotation.
It's a 3FM OY party on December 28th at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, starting at 7 p.m. Please call 0531 100 927 and 0532 200 927 for your table reservations today.
Welcome back. This is Key Point here on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. We understand we're also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. This morning, the three burning key issues on the table. I have my guest joining me in studio. A number of people will be joining us on Zoom as we go on. Edward Bauer is a member of Parliament for the Bongo constituency. He is a member of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament and a few other committees as well. But for today, the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament is what is needed on our conversation this morning. Honorable Edward Bauer, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, Alfred. How are you?
I'm well. It's been well. Also joining us, Martin Pibble is private legal practitioner. He is the convener of one of three individual bondholder groups, and then also the Kumi Preko Reloaded demonstration. Lawyer Martin Pibble, good morning, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Ocansey. Good.
Also joining us is Joseph Didiok Penka, who's a former Deputy Attorney General, and he won, just to put it on record, his primaries for the Tempani constituency, one of the orphan constituencies of the NPP. So exactly a week ago, he was in an election mood, going around and hoping that the delegates will smile on him. And yes, they did, and he won. Congratulations to you.
Thanks, Alfred.
And
thanks to your viewers.
Indeed. That's why you were missing in action for all this while.
That is true.
Doing constituency work.
I agree.
How did it go for you? Let's start off with that very quick. Because you came into this contest with a number of people who were very well resourced. Well, 7 government officials, correct?
Yes.
A deputy CEO and a few others.
Yes, I actually was a straight fight, 2 of us. I contested a deputy CEO of the YEA, and you know that the YEA is in charge of the youth and all that, and that was a very tough one, very, very, very tough. But I came out of it successfully. I'm very grateful to the delegates, I'm grateful to the constituents, I'm grateful to everyone for the confidence reposed in me to represent my party in the 2024 election. And what I can only say is that it was just by the grace of God and His blessing and mercy that I triumphed. And that's because it was really a very difficult one, looking at the circumstances that I would very much not like to recount.
Circumstances you wouldn't like to recount?
Yes.
But you want to share some of them with us?
That's why I said I wouldn't like to recount, and for obvious reasons, and because going forward, there's a need for a lot of things, building of bridges and etc. to be able to, for one to be able to do a smooth campaign. But I can tell you, it was one of the toughest elections I've ever had in my life.
One of the toughest elections
I've ever had in my life. That's on authority I can state. In fact, I told my wife after the election that I've contested more than 20 elections in my life, and this is the toughest election I've ever gone into.
Wow.
But I emerged with a margin and difference of 63 votes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That was how close the contest was.
Yes.
63 votes difference.
Yes, please.
I see. Now, but you've been in Parliament before. You lost. You are going back. I mean, your story is the reverse for Edward Bauer, who is in Parliament but lost the primaries. correct? Yes.
Well,
So,
I don't, I don't know. He's my very good brother and friend over the years, very close character and person I like so much. I don't think he lost because he served for 8 years. And I think that the delegates only told him that they wanted a different person else to continue. He didn't lose. That's my mind.
I see.
He may say he lost, but I think that he served well. I was with him in the 7th Parliament. He distinguished himself and all that. I think he shouldn't be too worried. He got 8 years to serve the people of Bongo. And that is not a small thing. It's a privilege and an opportunity he has to thank the people for. I think they just decided that they wanted somebody else to continue from where he left off. He hasn't lost anything. And I would say that getting 8 years to serve your people is a privilege you have to be grateful to God for. And I think that my good brother and friend shouldn't be too worried. He's an asset to his party. The future is bigger than what is happening today. And I think that at the right time, if there's a call on him to once again serve in another capacity, he will answer to that call.
The motivational message is good for the morning. But, you know, I don't think that Edward Bauer's parliamentary ambitions ends at this point, does it not? You're going to come back. You contest again, 2028.
Good morning. I think that usually I take a day at a time. And then you don't have control over your own life.
Absolutely.
You do not know exactly what happens tomorrow. Just as Penka was saying, if you look at it very carefully, usually, for example, if you take Bongo, on the average, the population is about 100,000 thereabout.
I see.
And if for a population of about 100,000, you are given the opportunity to serve them for 8 years at the National Assembly. That's a privilege.
Indeed.
And therefore, you should see these things and count them as part of your blessings. And God has a way of handling issues there. In fact, this is not the first time I've lost a primary.
Yes.
I lost it first in 2012. Yes, I did that.
That was the beginning days.
The beginning of my this. Yes, I know you know my political story. So, so it's not the first time I've lost. And in these current elections, it came that my colleague, who had also lost to me in other three previous occasions, ended up winning. So once again, I will say that use this platform to congratulate him.
Indeed.
And then I know that the people of Bongo will look. Will handle him the way they handled me, and we'll see how it goes.
Indeed. But Honorable Joseph Baker, so is vote buying one of the things you don't want to talk about? But even if that's the case, the special prosecutor has decided to step into this phenomenon of vote buying.
Well,
now that's what you're seeing on the screen there. Delegates being given money. I think now it comes in the form of TNT and food.
TNT should not be more than 100 Ghana cedis.
So if you say TNT should not be more than 100 Ghana cedis. But we saw some 1,000 Ghana cedis, some 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Nothing else. It's bribe.
Right? And some of the amounts that we were hearing being given as TNT. It raises fundamental questions, and indeed, that's why the special prosecutor is getting into this. And these videos you are seeing from this is Lejikuku and some other areas as well. This is just one of many videos. There's a second one which we will play for you. Also has the people taking the envelopes and actually writing their name. So this is what the OSP published. The faces of the six, or the pictures of the six, says this is the first set of people. It said the following persons are wanted by the special prosecutor for corruption and corruption-related offenses in respect of public elections, especially vote buying. This is the first three. Let's look at the second three. So this other set of three as well in there. Now, there are two questions that emerge here. And I'll start off with you, Joseph Penka, on this. Whether, first of all, how much of a task does the OSP has on its hands to address this matter of vote buying? as a corruption and corruption-related offense? Is it going to be easy proving this?
I was privileged to speak to a number of media houses on this topic. And Alfred, let me state this. When I saw the pictures and I heard a statement, I read and heard a statement issued by the Office of Special Prosecutor on the matter, it was only a confirmation of all that we know all this while. But you see, Alfred, what is shocking is the level of impunity with which some of the things were carried out. You share it publicly. Cameras are capturing what is being done, distribution of money to influence voters, and etc. How have we come to this? I have stated time and again that everything is by evidence in this our country as it is in every other country. How is it that, for example, Alfred, you are living in maybe Accra, and then somebody offers you 1,000 cedis as TNT to go and vote in Accra? That certainly cannot be TNT. You know, unless you want to give another
the form
name
in which it comes.
This type of, I think this nomenclature is outright falsehood, and I don't want to debate it at all, because you cannot give a person within a constituency 1,000 Ghana cedis and you refer to that as transport money. But you see, I think that we've all along tickled ourselves and laughed. We pretended, buried our heads in the desert all this period, and pretended that nothing is happening, and it's eating deep into our fabric, the fabric of our democracy. And if care is not taken, I believe that, with all respect, criminals can take advantage and take this our country to ransom and buy our democracy and put us in all forms and shapes of trouble. Because if the owner of the fattest envelope wins, and somebody engages in robbery or engages in criminality and makes huge sums of money and comes to buy the electorate and represents it in parliament and projects and protects the interest of persons within his category, class, shape, and form, then we are in for trouble, and our nation is on its marks to self-destruction and complete annihilation. Because what I see is that if care is not taken, the very good people who have good intentions to serve our nation in capacity as members of parliament and in manners that they will distinguish themselves and help us to shape our democratic dispensation may never get the opportunity at all to serve, because they do not have the fat envelopes to deliver to persons to be able to influence them to cast votes in their favor. And it's happened, and I like to state this, across the political divide. It is not only New Patriotic Party or National Democratic Congress, across the political divide. And we've heard tapes, we've read even people making plans to buy, votes way ahead of time, and indeed they carry out this with impunity in manners that are so frightening. And you even ask what are the sources of those huge sums of money. I've stated that, for example, if you look at the average earnings of an MP in 4 years, some of the amounts of money people use in influencing the electorate, if you multiply it by the number of delegates in the area, is less than the amount of money you earn as an MP in 4 years. So what is the motivation for this? That you spend so much money to just become candidate. You spend so much money to become a member of parliament, and in the end, even your salary in 4 years is not able to take care of. So how do you, make ends meet? And in the end, all that you spend, are you just a charitable organization, or you make efforts to recoup it? And if you are recouping it, how? Is it going to be through fair means, or you cut corners? Because if you are going to do it through fair means, what you are earning legitimately cannot take care of what you spend in order to become a member of parliament.
In fact, that statement you've just made answers a question I was just about asking. Because if you're saying that based on the calculation, the salary of the MP is not even enough to make up for the amounts that we hear people giving out to buy votes, then what is the motivation to really want to spend so much to stay in parliament where you are not earning so much, but then you can be able to gather so much money to spend to want to retain your seat in the place where they are not paying you so much? Why?
Alfred, I am unable to give a specific answer to that because I have never attempted and I do not ever attempt to influence electorate with such fat envelopes in order to go to Parliament.
You didn't give anybody.
I want to state this on record that 2 days to the elections, Martin, I went around all the polling stations and I gave each person 100 Ghana cedis as transport. And this is of public knowledge.
100 cedis.
100 Ghana cedis as transport to come and cast their votes. And my place, the majority of them use motorbikes. So it was for them to fuel their motorbikes and then come and cast their votes. I did not give anything beyond that. Wow. And this is for public records. And that is why my victory was shocking to many people.
That you didn't give money.
I didn't share money among people
but you
to
won.
influence them to vote for me. They did it out of unconditional love. And my record, as I served them as an MP for 4 years. Wow. I mean, I owe them a great debt of gratitude. That is all I can say on this national platform. I'm privileged to speak. But you see, I have told you that, Alfred, we have pretended over the years on this issue. Look, I have even heard, information that there are people who are preparing to buy votes by paying delegates 10,000 Ghana cedis each. How true it is, I don't know. But for all some of these rumors, there's some bit of truth. Even in some constituencies in the past, I heard, and indeed certain confirmations came in that people paid in USD, 1,000 USD and all that, to dole that out to delegates to vote for you to become a candidate. Now, if you have 500 delegates and you decide to give each of them, even if you take 300 people, you give them 10,000 Ghana cedis.
That's $1,000 maybe.
Just do the mathematics, and you see a frightening figure that will pop up. And then that is just for you're being nominated by your party as candidate. Then you again will have to go in and campaign and put in some resources. So if you do the average, you are going to get less than a quarter of that as earnings, legitimate earnings as an MP when you get to Parliament. So what then is the motivation to spend such huge sums of money? So again,
I'm going to ask you, what is the motivation?
Right from the beginning, we set up ourselves for corruption, so to speak, because if you get to Parliament and you will have to recoup that which you spent, and your legitimate earning is less than a quarter of what you are supposed to earn legitimately against the backdrop of what you spent in order to become MP, then in order for you to recoup it, you have to cut corners. You have to engage in dirty deals and etc. to be able to recoup your money. And that is the fact. We can pretend and say all sorts of things. Nobody is a Father Christmas. To say that you are putting in millions of Ghana cedis to become an MP in order to go for thousands of Ghana cedis in return as pay. Nobody is a Father Christmas. So there must be a reason and a motivation for it. I have seen the statement issued by the OSP asking for people to report those persons who were flaunting their money
didn't come with
and
names.
indicating. And remember that those people who did that, I mean, if they are going to be charged, the special prosecutor is not going to charge only the people who gave them the money, but they themselves are also going to be charged along. Because remember that in bribery, both the giver and the taker are guilty of an offense. So all that happened for me was dirty. Some of the areas it was dirty and it was condemnable, and we ought to act swiftly and decisively to nip this ugly development in the bud. Because over the years we pretended, we've spoken about it, and anytime it comes up we speak, and after a week it is gone. No drastic actions are being taken. Is it not about time that we legislated specifically on this matter and criminalized it in specific terms, so that if it happens and there is any shred of evidence, we can go to court and seek for orders that are punitive enough to serve as deterrence? Because it appears that all that we do is to talk and allow it to die. Because look, Alfred, I have stated this. We've spoken in Ghana. We've unanimously said that we are not ready to accommodate LGBTQ and other such like. So if, for example, we as a nation, let's say we unanimously say that we're not ready to accommodate it, yes, it may be their rights, but we are not ready to legislate to protect any such rights in our jurisprudence for now. And then they decide that, look, they have money, let's sponsor a number of persons to go to Parliament. And then people go bribe their way, buy the electorate and get there, and then they go to make laws that are unconscionable and against our cultural ethics and norms. Where are we going? It is something I think that as a nation we pretended over the period. And I think it has gotten to a stage where action rather than words will solve it. We need decisive actions. The special prosecutor, as I stated, can come up with, but you see, the other thing that we have as a problem is how you are going to be able to garner the evidence enough to prove your case before court. Remember that if you run there empty-handed, you go home crying. You have to go with concrete evidence to nail people.
Right.
And if one or two persons are convicted in our jurisprudence, put behind bars, and it serves as some warning or signal that what is happening in our democracy can no longer continue and be tolerated, then I believe that we'll make a very big progress. Otherwise, what's going to happen is that I've seen in some constituencies persons who can represent their people and deliver. And they just go and score either 0 or 2 or 3 because on ground of principle, they are not ready to pay any money.
So what form of evidence you're talking about? Because we see videos, and you're saying that it's not enough for the special prosecutor.
Yes, so what you have to do is, when
do
you get
anything?
the person, you have to be able to establish who gave that envelope. You have to establish that first.
So, for instance,
And
this
if you
envelope we are
establish it,
seeing.
you have to also prove intent. That what he was doing was with intent to influence the person to vote for him. All that has to be established in the course of evidence. Otherwise, you will not be able to prove your case before the court. Remember that everything in court is by evidence. And the evidence you garner will be either oral or documentary. And just by seeing this video, a movie that you can go and hear a very strange explanation by the persons who are receiving the envelope as to the purpose of it. Again, whether it's conscionable or unconscionable will depend on the evidence that you garner and present to the court. And the court will be able to arrive at a decision that indeed the money was presented to the person to influence the person to vote in one way or the other. And then you can then come to a conclusion that it was meant to influence the person and therefore an offense has been committed. So it is one thing seeing the video and another thing appearing in court and presenting that as concrete evidence and proving your case. Remember that in criminal matters, as we all know, it is proved beyond a reasonable doubt. You know, it is not on the balance of probabilities as it is in civil matters. So you will have to, the burden will have to go to the state. We are not in a civil law country. You know, in places like Burkina and other areas, they catch you with a goat, they get to court, they tell you that you've been caught with a goat, prove that you are innocent. That is their system. And in our system, it's adversarial. We will have to prove your guilt. However concrete and strong the evidence against you is, we will have to mount the box and prove your guilt. It is not for you to prove your innocence. You know, except in exceptional cases where the burden of proof shifts.
Right. I see. Let me bring in Edward Bauer as well, and then at this point, let me welcome Professor Ransford Jampo. He's a professor of political science at the University of Ghana.
I haven't seen for a while.
Professor
Congratulations.
Thank you, bro.
Good morning and welcome.
Morning. I knew as for you wouldn't share money, but your work would speak for you.
Thank you.
So I was very happy when I was told that you have won. We need more people like you who speak for Ghana to be elected as members of parliament. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, my brother.
Great. Zerewa,
Yeah.
so on this issue of vote buying, I'm sure you have your own fair share of the story, but then again, clearly putting our democracy on the plate for the highest bidder to buy, that's what we've been doing over the period. Joseph Penka says there's a certain level of hypocrisy about this. We've been pretending to address the matter, and then we just shift our eyes off, it comes back again. Do you think that criminalizing this would be the way forward in addressing this danger that our democracy is faced with?
Thank you very much, Alfred. When Penka was speaking, I remember in the 7th Parliament, there was this MP from Ashanti region, I don't want to mention his name, who walked to me. He was actually a deputy minister who walked to me in the coffee shop, so frustrated. And the reason was because he had just gotten a call from his constituency chairman, one of the Ashanti region MPs, had gotten a call from his constituency chairman telling him that he needs to mobilize not less than 5 million for the primaries.
5 million Ghana
cedis. Because the person who was coming to contest him had planned giving a particular figure, and if he has to survive, he needs to get 5 million. And the man stood and said, "Inchi, the money me jeopardy into 5 million." That which means all the property and other things here, it's not 5 million. Where was he going to get this? Long and short of the story, he lost the elections.
He lost it.
He lost the elections, and a different person came to parliament. It clearly tells you that, first and foremost, people do not even know that the issue of vote buying is a crime. They don't understand the concept. They don't understand that if I demand X before I offer my vote, it's a crime. Those who even have some level of knowledge about it seem to think that it's an entitlement. They think that, oh, after all, what is it? I'm giving you employment.
Yes.
And because I'm giving you employment, you should do something.
And you normally will hear that this is their cocoa season.
Cocoa season and other
because
things.
They know that when you go into parliament, they are not going to see you
You're
often.
going to see you, they're not going to do that.
They will take what they deserve.
So
that when
that
you
also happens. And let's be very frank with ourselves. It's not only within, for example, parliamentary primaries, presidential primaries. These things are done. Even sometimes branch elections, the unit
committee.
No, I'm just talking the basic unit of the electoral processes for us in terms of as political parties.
Right.
So branch elections, these things are done. You are seated down and somebody calls you and tells you that, look, I'm contesting for branch chairman, but from all indications, if I don't have this amount of money, the people won't even vote for me on that day. So from that level, up to constituency, up to region, up to national, parliamentary primaries, presidential primaries, you have these. You recall that just even before this, I'm surprised that the OSP is rather concentrating on this one. You know, before this, you recall that there were gentlemen in Ashanti region, for example, who stood during the presidential primaries of the NPP, stood and said that they were waiting for Kennedy Japan to bring his money or else they won't go and vote. You recall? So it gives you a fair idea that they don't understand the concept. Because nobody will come and stand on national television and say that I'm waiting to go and steal or I have stolen. I don't know where you're getting the point. Because they understand the concept. So that's the first point. Secondly, I think that we also pretend in some of our political party financing, the laws, as to whether we even implement them. I'll give you a typical example. You take, for example, in a country like the United States, where it is legal to be registered and be seen as a lobbyist. And so, if I'm a registered lobbyist, I can go there and then lobby lawmakers to take a particular position. And everything is done transparently. There are people, senators or maybe congressmen and women, who, because they want, for example, a particular project in their area, in their district, they will trade that for a vote, and it's legal. However, in Ghana, we pretend that is corruption. And because we pretend that is corruption, we sit down, and then, for example, a member of parliament is seated down, and there's a serious issue. There's a way that the person has to vote. And then people then begin to have influence, like what do you call it? Suspicion. I'll give you just one example, just the budget that we just passed. What's the name? Not the budget. We didn't pass the budget.
Well, the policy, the policy document.
Principle, yeah, the principles and what do you call it? Underlining the budget. That was voted for. You recall that before that day, there were situations where you had some media persons and other things on Facebook and other things indicating that, oh, there was this amount of money they were going to use in bribing some 5 MPs, and you know something, and therefore, and the basis of that, the people will not come, some will travel out of the country and other things. The question is because we do not really find a way of treating it honestly. That look, how do we make sure that we regulate these behaviors? It is when we know how to regulate these behaviors, then all these suspicions do not come. Because in other jurisdictions, again, people will then judge you based on your voting pattern.
As an MP.
As an MP. Here, it is not done. Nobody knows how e-levy, maybe somebody voted. Nobody knows when it came to the issue of speaker, they voted. Apart from just throwing suspicions and other things all over the place. So I think that basically that is where the thing is. Now to the OSP. You see, I agree that these unfortunate people who have been caught on television, live television, I agree that what they did was a crime. I agree that the OSP must be seen to be, even if at the end of the day, these people do not end up being convicted, at least there would have been some signal as part of the public education that there's a consequence for a behavior like this. And that this is a crime. Because just as I said earlier on, that people simply do not even know that vote buying is a crime. Now, the danger for our democracy, and I'll say this, my own experience, you had a situation where you had money bags coming over, and the issue was that they wanted...
You say money bags, what do you mean? Like money in bags?
No, so when I say, it's basically people who had deep pockets. You understand?
I see. Okay.
So they come, and then the basis of the fact that they want to know that if Martin is going to be the candidate, I want to have influence over Martin. So if I want to have influence over Martin, I'll finance Martin. I get the point. Now, this person who finally comes and then he says that, look, I want to finance you. One day, maybe this person may even be a very legitimate person with a legitimate source of funding. You may have one day where all our political structures, whether it's at the legislature, whether it's at the president, the executive, will all be controlled by criminals.
Criminals?
Criminals. Because you have a situation where, for example, assuming I'm a drug dealer, and I want to ensure that when you go to court, when you go to parliament, you should be, the law should be made in such a way that all will be well for us in our business. It doesn't cost much for a drug dealer in terms of the amount of money they get if they are successful in pushing one to come and mess up a whole constituency.
In fact, there's a CDD survey that revealed, and I'm sure maybe Professor Jampo and Matikbebo, some time ago I shared this detail with you, where they actually found out that Galamsey operators, some nefarious businessmen, have been financing political party activities over the period, Galamsey operators and the likes. So it's evident in the what is going on. Even though we say we are tackling this menace, there's no real impact in these areas where this Galamsey is going on.
Just to give you yet another example, a member of parliament, he survived. He survived. In his area, because you use the word Galamsey, he stood up, he's an MPP man, he stood up against the, what do you call it, these Galamseyers or whatever you call them. They were venturing into a forest that was a reserved area. It was out of bounds for mining. He stood against that. Do you know what happened? And this was in the 7th Parliament. All the Galamsey guys, they ganged up and got a candidate.
Got a candidate? Candidate
to contest him.
The Galamsey operator?
Yes, and this man was my chairman of what they call the committee that I served in. That was the 7th Parliament. This guy he couldn't even concentrate anytime he was chairing even the committee meeting because he was so worried about that. Currently, as we speak, and I say this with all the strength, and I'm going to say this here because I'm going to mention names. Yesterday, on live, you know, I was hearing it, but I didn't know it was true. On one of your sister media houses, they were talking. You know, the current sitting controller, accountant general, or what do you call it? The controller accountant general is vying to contest one of the seats in Central Region. A certain people who controls all of us our money. The guy he is trying to contest. Look, all that you hear them say is that every delegate has been put on salary, and he's been doing that for about 2 years. I'm just telling you the basis of what they call it.
That's what you heard.
What I heard. So yesterday, and I was also worried. Yesterday, you had a situation where people were not texting and saying, incoming MP on radio. On radio, they were tapping and mentioning his name. And I say that, look, if you have a situation where
You control my money, state money. There must be laws as to how you deal with some of these things. There must be laws as to how you deal with some of these things. Everybody is seeing it. Everybody is hearing it. But nobody is questioning it. And the thing has now moved from just being talked on, what do you call it, corridors, to radio stations. And nobody, the OSP is not even interested in trying to investigate this. So the point I'm just trying to make is that, yes, these guys may be very unfortunate guys. They are there, they, what do you call it, they were caught because they were desperate. They thought that this was the time for them to also harvest. They think that after this, they have no say in the political discourse, and so they will do that. So what about the big fishes? How do we deal with those ones?
You mean the people who are giving the money?
People who are doing this. And sometimes the state has an opportunity to be able to fight it. And they are not.
How?
Because in the first place, if I am an appointee, I am the one who appoints an officer. Why on earth will it be the case that, for example, you are a chief executive of a public institution, then suddenly, without resigning, you move in to go and contest a seat? State institution, you move in to go and contest a seat. How do you do that? How do you do that? And so until we address this, and it's not only for, what they call it, the NPP or the NDC. Look, there have been history of, within the NDC, whilst people were chief executives, they went and contested. There's history currently. He was contested by a deputy CEO.
Of National Youth.
Yes, he was contested by a deputy CEO. Why? He was contested by a deputy CEO. Yes. So you have situations like that. And until we are bold enough to tell ourselves that, look, we must deal with these things head on. These ones are just the unfortunate fishes. They are the loose ends of, what do you call it, the food chain. The bigger fishes are up there. And until we confront those issues, please, let's forget this issue about talking about vote buy.
I see. So, Lawyer Martin, I'll bring you at this point, and because you're talking about...
yes, comes in, Prof, a quick one. Just say that, see, the MPP in government now, and then also future government that takes over. I think they made a very good intervention or rule that said that if you are a sitting MCE, you cannot qualify to contest as an MP. Yes. I think nationally we can have some of these rules that say that it's a thought.
So that is even for where the
that's what I'm saying. So I think nationally, if we mean well, we can come out with some of these fine blueprints and agreements that if you are a controller and accountant general, you control all the resources and then you want to contest. I mean, we should have some of these rules that say that, for people like that, then you should resign, you should have resigned long ago to be able to do that. Otherwise, then it appears that we are not serious as a nation. And
we'll check that the controller bit that you mentioned. We're checking that for you. And before you come in, I wanted to play a video for you, and that gives also another perspective to some of the things we've been talking about. Take a look at this.
Yeah, I need more money. Show me more money.
What can show to you?
And you got all this just today?
Yesterday. Just a few hours. Because I sacrificed my sleep.
Yeah. A bag full of cash. Wow.
Completely now.
Let me ask you a picture. One group.
Well, so there you have it. Like Martin Pebu. So as the former Deputy Attorney General, now parliamentary candidate for the Timpani constituency on the ticket of the MPP, is saying, okay, let's find ways of criminalizing vote buying. We've seen this video where the person who gave the money, the person who gave the money, its picture and name is on an envelope being shared. You saw it in the video. And the people who were taking the money showing the envelope with the person's name on it, the candidate's name on it. Is it going to be still difficult for the OSP to prove anything?
Absolutely, it's difficult. So, but just a quick one on the public officers standing elections. There have been a number of Supreme Court decisions. There are about at least 3 of them, right, on this matter. Right. And so far, the Supreme Court has been clear that, look, the time you say a party has put a candidate up for election is when the party sends its papers to the EC. And that's usually quite close to the elections. So like Prof said, so meaning that right now, if you go and raise it, they will say, oh, he's not standing for elections because the party hasn't put him forward, or if he's an independent candidate, he has not submitted his papers to the EC that he's going to contest the 2024 elections. So considering those decisions that have come to the Supreme Court, I like the way Prof put it, that then we should make a new law. It's as if Prof even knows the state of the law. So the state of the law there, the fact that this is, what do you call it, the Accountant General, Controller and Accountant General is in office, not much. And sometimes that's the way the law is. The law is backward. Citizens have moved on, and so we need efforts to reform, to bring the law in tandem with the mores and ethos of the people. Yes, sometimes the law is backward. Other times the law leads the citizens, like the corruption law. The corruption law, you see that the law is leading us, but we are backward. But when it comes to this standing for election, yeah, I see we have moved forward, but the law is backward, saying at the time papers are presented to the EC, that is when somebody is being said to be a candidate. Yes, you see. So let's do law reform, okay? That's it. Now, so Mr. Ocansey, the matter of the picture, you see, the first technical point we are confronted with is that a party primary, whether for presidential or for parliamentary, is it a public election? That is where the main challenge is. That is where the main challenge is. So perhaps this OSP case will be the test case for the courts to decide. Because you see, when we go to the representation of people's law, even initially, that law was even for only parliamentary elections. Initially, it's raw, the PNEC law 284. Initially, the elections was for parliamentary. Then later, under PNDC law 296, we then amended it to say, and that's what I'm reading, election means any public elections. Any public elections. So question is, when MPP are doing their primaries, Pebu, I'm not a member of the MPP. Can I go and participate? If you can't participate, can we call that public election? And look, let me state straight away, if we are talking about what is my desire, what is my, what do I wish? Oh, I wish the court to interpret to say that party primaries also qualify, because that would be easy. That would be
qualifies as public elections.
As public elections.
But what is the position of the law now?
Right now, it's not too clear. It says any public elections. And when you say something is public, it must generally be open to the general public. So if it's an NDC primaries and I don't qualify, I can't participate. MPP primaries, I don't qualify, I can't participate. CPP and so on and so forth. So that's the meaning. So it's good. I like it. Let OSP, let it go to court. But right now, we can't tell that it's open and shut. You hear, some of the lawyers have debated this with, we are on platforms, and this has been coming up. You know, this is not the first time this thing is been up. It's been every election cycle, it comes up. So you hear lawyers like Samson Ladia and now OSP. OSP, by inviting them, it appears he belongs to that school, who will say that, look, yes, party primaries should qualify HQC Prempe and Co. And sure, if the court will rule like that, we'll all be very happy because it's easier. Then you hear lawyers on the other side, Ace and Kumenko, who tell that, look, this one is not too clear. So right now, so for them, the best is that let's amend the law. If we get an amendment, to be honest, an amendment would have been the best. But the thing is that in the circumstances, anytime things affect politicians, Honorable, today you are in favor, but I'm not sure it will be that easy in Parliament. Once a lot of your people, some will say it will even relieve them of the burden of paying money. Others who may not be, the ones who came through using money as influence but not their on merit, will not be happy because they know that, look, hey, if now we are saying we should be by merit, then the person knows inwardly that if it were by merit, he wouldn't be in Parliament. So those people are not likely to support such a law because they have a lot of money. They buy the seat. You see? So if a court will rule that party primaries also qualifies, good. But if as a people, as a collective, we are all very strong and quickly we are ready, we can pass the law, then it's very clear. So, but right now, going into that case going to court, that will be the first time that the court will decide. But there is a closer case, or let's say there is a case that may lend support to saying that party primaries should qualify as public elections. That is the case of the Republic versus Yebi and Avalifo. That is the case in which 100 million was stolen from this house. And when it went to court, so they raised this matter of jurisdiction, that party matters are not public crimes. Those cases were to be tried, those kind of offenses were to be tried by the public tribunal. Now we've shut them down. But I went to court, Supreme Court, Aqua CJ at the time. They looked at it and they said, things that affect a political party also inure to the general body politic, because the political parties shape the ideas of the state. They do this, they do that, and the way they are central to our political or our democratic dispensation. So finally, and then also the coup de grace, when they looked at it, they say include. And when the word used is include, that means that the definition is not exhaustive. Includes means more can be added. So in law, that's how come lawyers, as soon as you are defining something, you say people, or let's say people, what's your Bongo, your constituency? They will say, okay, people in Bongo who can vote include 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, and 21-year-olds. Then full stop.
It's not exhaustive.
Then it means that 22-year-olds can come and say, you only said include. You didn't say means. Because you said includes, it means more can be added. So at the end of the day, the Supreme Court held that no, the crimes can be tried by the public tribunal, and most especially things affecting a political party also doesn't affect our general democracy, so they are public. So the word public there. So that is the definition. It means the OSP will be going into this case with the definition of public in Yebi and Avalifo versus the Republic. Let's see how it goes. But Mr. Ocansey, as the OSP is ready to test this case, very eager to test it, I'm wondering why OSP, in the same light, is not interested in testing Edu Buahi's case. Because we have shown that section 252 is what? Influence peddling. OSP himself concluded, they have been concluded in his report that Charles Edu Buahi did, saying he will go and see the vice president, and the vice president, Cool Chop, Baumia will deal with this matter. He says that is influence peddling, but there is no law. And Honorable, we are saying that section 252 of the Criminal Offences Act talks about influence peddling. So my challenge to the OSP is that if he's interested in this party primaries being a crime under PNDC Law 284, then he should equally be interested in taking Edu Buahi's case to court. Let's test it, because what he's going to do now, he's going to test the law. This party primaries case is doing. He's basically testing the law, because a party primary is not too clear that it is, what do you call it, a public election. Because, Honorable, you are not MPP, you can't participate in that election. Even if you are MPP and you are not a delegate, you cannot participate. You see, so it's restricted to some people. Is that a public election?
Okay.
So he is going to test the law on this
whether
bribery.
this primaries constitutes a public election.
Exactly.
Otherwise.
So if that is so, he should be testing the Dubois in soon. Otherwise, I'm left with a very bad and deep feeling that it's because Bawumia is contesting for elections, he's trying to run away. Yes, because why? Dubois say Bawumia will do the thing, cool chop. Bawumia can help the sheikh, the investor to, invest in Ghana, and then here Dubois will take 20%. You tell us that conversation, everything that happened is what? Influence peddling. But you don't see any law. Meanwhile, there's a law that clearly, if we read, you see that it says A gives or A agrees with B, that B will go and influence C. In that case, it is influence peddling. We see it, and then you say no, you've not seen it. But the other one that is not so clear, that one you say you're going to try. Then be ready to try this. Mr. Ocansey, do I have how many minutes more do I have to read?
Or you round up for me?
Yes. Let's look at the influence peddling thing again, because it beggars belief. Look, 252, it says, a person shall not accept or agree or offer to accept valuable consideration under the pretense of having unduly influence or being able or agreeing to influence any other person in respect of functions as a public officer or juror. So the thing is that this one is easier to test. Honorable, why? The Edubuahin and Bawumia case is easier to test because he, OSP, based on the evidence, has concluded that this is influence peddling, but that he can't find the law. And we are saying that this is the law. Many lawyers agree that this is the law.
Let me provide this information to my brother.
Yes.
I think I read his submission.
Yes.
And I did it very carefully. You see, if you read the Office of Special Prosecutors Act, it gives a list of offenses that are supposed to be tried by the Office of Special Prosecutor. It does not include what we are stating.
No, it includes 252.
No,
it's 247 that...
The point is that he looked at the conduct of the person and he came to the conclusion that that will come under the purview of Office of Attorney General. But
no. Don't try to defend. You see politicians. Open the definition. Just open the definition.
I don't know whether you understand. I'm not talking... I'm not speaking for myself. I'm talking about what...
No. He's saying... No. Honorable, that's not... You haven't read it. Take it easy. Take it easy. He says that it is influence peddling, but that he doesn't find the law. We'll read it.
Because I remember... And that, Martin, and that is the opinion he has on the matter, which you could either agree or disagree.
Right.
Because you are urging him that he should take it to court.
Yes, this one he's going to take.
But he has also stated that it does not fall within his purview.
No, it falls. He's saying that he doesn't see the law.
I think the influence peddling specifically.
He admitted that it was influence
peddling. Yes.
But he said, as we speak now, we do not have it doesn't fall under any law.
Yes.
And that in other jurisdictions, yes, but in Ghana, as per the laws, that's what he said.
So yes, so let's read this.
When you ask you round up.
Yes. Let's read it so that it will be clear. Look, it says 7.1. Though the conduct of Mr. Dubois amounts to trading in influence or influence peddling, which is closely associated with corruption, there is no actual criminal prohibition of his acts in respect of which the OSP has a mandate to what?
What I said.
No, he's saying that there is no prohibition.
That is his opinion.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So there is, and he's going to test this one. He's going to test primaries.
So you want him to just get into it and test it.
Doesn't fall within his purview.
All right.
That is his opinion.
Right.
Until, we take it to court and the court makes a definite pronouncement.
Good. So if he's ready to gamble, he's ready to gamble on party primaries.
But your point is that if he is going into this, then he should also take interest in that.
Yes, Edubuahin's case. Because Edubuahin's case will never die. Mr. Jabe, this case will never die. We'll go tango, sir.
Professor Jampo, let me bring you on this point. I think that from you, from your political lenses perspective.
No, Edubuahin.
So I've got some confirmation for you. Gentlemen, please. Thank you. So, yes, Edward Bauer, what you made mention of, this is Achim Swedru constituency.
Yeah.
That's where Kwesi Kwening Bosompim, that's the name, is nursing the ambition to contest. He's going against Kennedy Osenyako, the chairman of the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Professor Jampo, this phenomenon, it's not new, and it keeps coming out. At least the only new twist to this, reason why we're having this conversation, is the OSP even wanting to get into it so as to help the likes of Joseph Benka, who want this to be criminalized as well, despite the hurdles they say he will face.
You see, today, I came here to talk about lithium. I didn't come to talk about all these things.
So you round up on this one. We'll get into
these things, they've been one too many. And I think that the earlier we do something about them, the better. We've been talking about them virtually every time elections are held. We've been talking about them. And this OSP thing, I think the OSP has too many work in progress. He would go and touch this and leave it there, go and touch that and leave it there, and popularize it and leave it, pussyfooting things and just leaving them. He has too many work in progress all over the place. It doesn't show seriousness. And Martin, I thought I told you that I wanted to sue him, and then you were going to be my lawyer. What has happened to that? On this particular, on the other issue.
Is still
yes. I think we must take him to court and ensure that he does what he is required to be doing.
Going to take the OSP to
yes,
court.
I mean, I don't. He's just, and then you go and just do emotional blackmail, saying you are Ankwanoma and that one. What is that? You focus on his work.
Tell my brother that he exercised it under Article 296. It's a discretionary power he has as a special prosecutor, and in his judgment, he thinks that this is the law. So you could go to court and the court says otherwise.
Okay, gentlemen. Thank you for the intervention. Let Professor Jampo.
No, let them intervene. Yes. I have nothing more serious to say beyond what Martin has said. I came here to talk about lithium.
Indeed.
The lithium thievery. That's what I want to talk about. I'm not interested in this. Let the OSP focus and deal with one issue at a time, carry that issue to its logical conclusion. What has happened to the Sisiadapa matter? You see, you bring matters to the public domain and then we talk about it, and he's pandering to the typical Ghanaian attitude and culture where we know that, we do not celebrate the 1 week of every matter in Ghana. Every matter that happens in Ghana, you talk about it in 2 days, 3 days. It doesn't get to 1 week, and then we are done talking about it. Because of some of these things, there are too many work in progress. OSP is doing this, then he hears it quickly, he wants to be here doing something about it. Then there is somebody chasing a file, going to steal a file. Quickly he wants to be heard chasing it. Somebody going to steal a goat. Quickly he wants to be heard talking about. That is not how to fight corruption. You don't fight corruption by pussyfooting it. What you do is to make sure that if you are handling one particular matter, handle it with tact, with seriousness, with focus, and ensure that there is finality. I don't know the case that OSP has ever finished handling. Every day and every now and then, the OSP is doing something and it will not finish. The OSP, have you forgotten? I think there was an election that somebody was sharing bicycle or something, and then another election that somebody came out to say that he is demanding. He bribed some people. They didn't vote for him.
He's on trial. And it's called a number of witnesses.
So trial in perpetuity. We don't. He doesn't finish anything. He's always doing work in progress. And you see, the fight against corruption is not math. It's not about talking and being heard. You, Martin Kwebu, and the other time, when we're talking about this man, you felt that we're doing something too much, and then you have some lawyers like Sansaya they will text you and say, "Well, do you have something personal against the OSP?" OSP was my mate. We're all in the Kwafu hall. I don't have anything personal against him. Okay, what we are seeking is Ghana. So that Ghana will work. And if you're a young man and given that kind of fiduciary trust to perform, because you have the zeal, you have the energy, and you have the intellect, we expect more from you.
Okay.
It's not about pussyfooting problems and always having work in progress. If you hear somebody going to steal a goat, then you are chasing and you make it public. You hear somebody going to steal.
But Prof, that helps.
So always chasing. And no, I'm saying that, but let an issue be addressed and let there be finality. He has too many work in progress.
He doesn't have control over the court. Like the NDA one, this is the one that even
he doesn't have control over the court. You see, when he was appointed, the way and manner he spoke suggested to some of us that he was going to perform some magical wand to bring even the judicial arm of government under his control. Didn't you know? Wasn't he a lawyer before he was appointed? Didn't he know that if you go to court, there are processes that you have to, be resorting to, and then sometimes it drags, sometimes it delays. And today he's out there in his capacity as a senior lawyer now, speaking against the court. Didn't he know?
I disagree with you.
No, didn't he know that the court?
With any judgment of the lower court, you go on appeal.
Was he not aware that the court?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so
he was the conscience of the nation. If you are conscious of the nation, how do you describe the one who appointed?
Okay, thank you. Just round up on me on this one.
I was just. He mentioned something, and I was just coming to that about the Office of Special Prosecutor. I think that some of the utterances by him are needless, and he has to be very cautious because that's a very big office that was created for a purpose. You see, as lawyers, and Martin knows very well that you go to court with evidence, and then the court takes a decision on the basis of the evidence and the law. Now, if you are not satisfied with any decision of any court, your other option is to go on appeal. If it is a high court, you go to the Court of Appeal. If you are not satisfied, you go to the Supreme Court, and then finality is brought on the issue. But when we begin to run commentary, as if you go with any case to court, you must necessarily secure victory. And if you don't secure victory, it means that there's a conspiracy and a gang up against you. That would be most unfortunate because the courts are there to make pronouncements on the law. And that is why if one judge errs, you go for a 3-member panel at the Court of Appeal.
Not to come and say you are
but to come publicly.
And then you come and say,
that one is completely needless. It amounts to denigrating the courts.
Okay.
And that one in itself can be
a singing
and talking about
that one is getting wrong. And he's seeking to court public sympathy.
It's unnecessary.
No.
Do your work.
Absolutely needless.
Thank you.
And I think that the earlier that was taught, the better.
And this is coming from
law, and if the law is against us at the lower court, and we think that we are going to appeal and go to the Court of Appeal.
Many of you people in the NDP, you are not seeing
But if we begin to run commentary, and then you come to the public and you want to tell the public that you are Mr. Angel, but the rest of the people are devils, and they are those who are thwarting your efforts, courting public sympathy and all that. That's a cry too loud that no one will have sympathy with you.
Do you know that currently in the Supreme Court now, actually a citizen is in the Supreme Court even challenging the legality of the office of the special prosecutor.
And this is a case that is running. So
yes.
We'll see how things play out. Thank you. And this coming from the former Deputy Attorney General, instructive indeed. But this leads us to the next issue, which is the lithium find and the agreement, between Ghana and the Barari DV Ghana Limited for the lithium extraction. And this conversation about the agreement, the details of it, has been subjected to a lot of scrutiny, even before it gets to Parliament. Because this certainly needs parliamentary ratification. That's how important this mineral is, because it is the next big thing. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources is supposed to address a press conference earlier in the week, in fact, some 2 days ago, indicating why, in his view, this is the best agreement for Ghana at this point and under the circumstance. Take a look.
Just like bauxite and iron ore, to a minimum of 30%. An enhanced local content and local participation, including listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange, and value addition and beneficiation for all green minerals in our country. It was based on this policy that we entered into negotiations with the company, leading to the signing of the mining lease. It is the first time in the history of our country that we have successfully negotiated for 10% royalties for any mineral, which is one of the highest for exploitation of any mineral across the globe. We have already secured a 19% state participation in this mining company, 19%, with a requirement to scale it up to a minimum of 30% Ghanaian participation through listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange for shares to be made available to Ghanaians and Ghanaian entities. What this simply will mean is that when it is all over, Barari DV Limited, the holder of this mineral right of lithium, Ghanaian and state participation will be 30%. Foreign participation will be a maximum of 70%. And for the first time in the history of our country, a mining lease contains provisions for the establishment of a refinery, that is value addition and beneficiation. This mining lease has provision which insists that a refinery will be established here in Ghana for processing of this lithium, this mineral. This has never happened. This is the first time.
Well, so that's Samuel Abojinapo, who is the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, addressing the press earlier in the week. A number of benefits or the aspects of this deal that he put out. There's a few more that I'll add to it based on the information that we got from the Minerals Commission when we made a request for the details of this agreement to help us have a conversation that's based on the facts of this agreement as has been published. So we'll get into it. But just when he was talking, his brother, that is John Jinapo, who is the ranking on Edward Bower's committee, Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, was also addressing the press in Parliament, indicating that this agreement has to come before the House for ratification. Take a look.
Article 6268, and let me re-emphasize, Article 268 of the 1992 Constitution is explicit, and it states that any transaction, including but not limited to the application for a license to exploit a natural resource, requires prior parliamentary approval. On this note, I want to make it loud and clear and succinct and explicit that the agreement between the government of Ghana and Barari DV should be laid before Parliament without delay. And let me assure the people of Ghana that the minority would not let you down. We would scrutinize the agreement. We will not allow this agreement to be rushed through. We would seek the guidance, the involvement of civil society. We will speak to important personalities, including former Chief Justice, Justice Sophia Akufu, who has been vocal on this lithium agreement. The new order is lithium. Lithium is more profitable than gold. Lithium is more profitable than diamond. And the world order is moving to this green mineral. And so the minority would insist that Ghana benefits from this resource, and that the terms and agreements, if they are not in the interest of Ghana, the minority would kick against that.
So that's John Jinapo there, also indicating if the details are not in the interest of Ghana, the minority will kick against it. Now, further to what the minister said, this is what a few more we found out about this deal. First off, the life of the mine is 12 years with likelihood of extension through ongoing prospecting. So they're still doing prospecting to find more the lithium deposits. The average production, about 350,000 tons of concentrate. That's lithium at 5.5 to 6% lithium oxide. Projected mine construction and development cost, $185 million for 14 months. So that is the cost of the construction of the mine and the development over the 14-month period, $185 million. Payback period, about 17 months. That's when the company said they will recoup their investment and all of that, within 17-month period. average sale price. So the point is that they fixed the lithium concentrate per ton to $1,410 per ton, regardless of what happens on the international market. So that even if it goes down in price because of the movement of the pricing valuations or differentials on the international market, it is still fixed at $1,410 per ton. So there are other minerals that can be extracted from lithium. That's what you see there: kaolin, silica, and feldspar. Feldspar is used for for ceramics, the manufacturing of these tiles and so on. Is some of the ingredients you see there. Mandatory listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange. There's still discussion ongoing to have the company listed on Ghana Stock Exchange, and the Securities and Exchange Commission is also involved in it. These are the terms and benefits. Sector fiscal regime, royalty rate 10% on lithium and all associated minerals, and they put it there that it currently is 5% for the mining sector. So that's one of the things they say is an increase, an improvement, 10%. Corporate income tax rate 35%, same for the rest of the mining sector. Freed carried interest 13%, and currently it says 10% for the rest of the mining sector. So that's another improvement in the deal. Then they look at the sector fiscal regime. Get Fund 2.5, NHIL 2.5, growth and sustainability levy is there 1%. The Community Development Agreement Fund, 1% of the revenue that goes to the community. And then we see the uses of lithium in there for all of what we are seeing and all the others. So certainly there is a lot that is being asked of whether this is all we can get under the circumstance as a country. It still comes back to you, Parliament, and I'll start off with you, Mr. Edward Bauer, on this, because this is, your committee is going to have the task of first looking into this deal even before it comes to the plenary, correct?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What are the issues in this deal? Reason why you think that we deserve more than what is there, even though it's an improvement on the existing mining agreements that we have been signing over the period?
Thank you very much, Alfred. You know that lithium, just like nickel or maybe silicon and whatever, they are known as what they call the green minerals or strategic minerals. And the reason is because of the crucial role they play in this energy transition discourse. So they've become very, very key. And just as in your introduction, when you said that it's going to be the next big thing, I say it's already the big thing. So that is the first thing. Secondly, and the reason is that the reason why they are called these strategic minerals is because of the role they play, particularly in renewable energy technologies and battery storage or maybe energy storage solutions. That's why they have become that. Now you will see that, for example, if say you were to take the batteries that are used in powering what we call the electric cars, minerals like lithium, nickel, cobalt are the components that's used in doing that. If we were to look at, for example, say the solar energy and wind energy, you see the batteries that are being used. Usually they have these rare elements, or what we call the green elements, that are used in converting whether it's the wind energy or whether it's the solar energy into electricity. So that is a key area that key role that these things play. And if you realize that these days, from transportation to food, because if you look at even this year's COP, this year's COP 28, they had included health and agriculture because of the fact that they all have consequences. The climate change issues have consequences on all this. That being said, so if you are a country that suddenly you've gotten one of these rare elements, lithium, fine. The first logical thing is that you must first contemplate the possibility of having a national policy that then guides the behavior of the state anytime they are engaging in situations like this. Now you have the minister in his public interaction indicate that they have a policy, and that he brought a policy before Parliament, announced it in Parliament, then took it to Cabinet, they enhanced it, and then so they have that. My brother, that is not how policies are made. That's not how policies are. If I were to ask even the minister to produce a document for me that this is the policy guiding that, that's not how policies are made. You don't come, a document that you come and just say that you have information to give to Parliament, you go and stand, read, and nobody even has a copy. And that you are just giving Parliament information. And that becomes the basis for a policy. But all of us know that for public policies and other things, I will first and foremost, based on the experience we've had in the mining sector, what is it that as a government, or maybe for that matter, a state, what is it that you see that you think you want to, a problem that you need government intervention? Because you would have over 100 years we've been mining or other minerals. What is it that currently we find as a problem that we think we can have a policy around it? How are you defining it? What are the options, the potential policy options? Even with these policy options, what is the input of experts, stakeholders, the media? Then you will then come and say that, look, finally the executive will approve, then the Parliament will also look at it, then it becomes policy. We do not have that. And speak to everybody. If for nothing at all, I am a major stakeholder when it comes to the mining area, isn't it? As a parliamentarian.
Yes.
What is the policy that guides anything? So if you do not have a policy, what then guided government going into a lease agreement with, the subsidiary of Atlantic, what's their name again? Barari, Barari Ghana Limited. What was the policy that underpinned the state's posture towards the signing of this particular agreement? Now, yes, as per the Constitution, that's Article 2681, and then Act 703. These two laws mandates the minister, and actually push responsibility on the minister to lay this lease before Parliament for approval. You know, even the Supreme Court, over a long period, we had situations where the Supreme Court actually they were not mining leases were not ratified by Parliament. Meanwhile, they had been operating for God knows until the MP for Ashama went to Parliament, went to the Supreme Court, and there was a ruling that all those leases should be brought to Parliament for ratification. It is only when you bring this law to this lease to Parliament, then I can then first look. For example, the benefits that this lease is supposed to give us. Let's look at one. They indicate that, look, we are going to have 13% carried interest.
Yes.
Now, even oil, which is a very new area as compared to mining, the moment we de-risked before we found oil, every time carried interest was 10%. So all the petroleum agreements we've had, you see that the carried interest is 10%. The moment we eliminated the element of risk, because these things, whether it is mining or it's what's the name again? Oil and gas exploitation, the initial is capital intensive. And so usually when there's a bit of risk, the state is a bit careful in trying to insist on carried interest. Right. And carried interest is simply says that, look, from the beginning, you just have a situation where you have 10% of the stake, but it only ends at the level of declaring commerciality. Post-commerciality, when you declare commerciality, every other thing, the state pays for it. So the carried is just for the exploitation period. I don't know whether I'm making sense. The moment they get to, they declare commerciality and they start development, you will pay for it. Anytime there are cash calls, as a stakeholder, you will pay. So that is what it is. So let's not create the impression as if from this thing up to the day we are getting all the lithium, everything, we are not going to be. It is just for a period. That's
so the 13% carried interest is for that period of declaring.
Now, if you have a situation where even our oil that we just found recently, after we realized that, look, it is possible to go to our basins and get oil, our carried interest now for petroleum agreement is 15%. then you will come and tell me that lithium, that has become, as to quote your words again, the big thing. You tell me 13% and I should be excited about. So that's the first point. I can only interrogate this if the lease is before me in Parliament. That's one thing. Two, you state that the growth and sustainability levy. It is not only that company that is going to pay for it. Indeed, it is a law that came into effect in May 2023, where they have categorized all companies into three: category A, B, and C. Category A are the banks, the telecos, the breweries. They pay 5% of their gross revenue. Then you have the mining companies and oil and gas in the upstream, paying 1% of their gross. Then any other company that does not fall between these two categories, they pay 2.5%. So it is not something that is so special that you say, the fact that they are paying 1% on the gross and sustainability levy, which actually came to replace. We used to have this law. It was National Fiscal Stabilization Levy. That was what the 2013 law. That's what they came to replace it. So when you say that, you are doing that, that is not a big deal. I need to have the list before me to ask what went into these considerations. Okay. 3, the government says that, look, that they are insisting on local content. And on the basis of that, they've made the minerals and minerals income and investment, fund, MIF, to buy stake in it. Is it about 6% stake
so
in it?
6% ownership through the $27.9 million investment into the Ghanaian project company.
Yes. So they are saying that, and that, look at that, and that they've also reserved about 11% when they list it in, when they list it in the Ghana Stock Exchange, at least 11% must be indigenous. I would want to see, when we talk about local content, and I have always been passionate about local content, not only in the mining, but even also in the oil and gas area. Beyond just this supposed stake that we have taken, what are the other arrangements in terms of local content and local participation within that? Why do I say so? I can have a situation where, as per the agreement you have and whatever guidelines govern this particular relationship, it may be that, look, 90% of the workers for the company must be Ghanaians or must be indigenous. Yes, the company can actually go, and when you do a head count of these people, they will constitute 90% of Ghanaians. But you see, usually you need to go behind the numbers and look at the value of that. Because you can have a situation of just one expatriate. The salary will be all of them combined. So I will need to investigate and know. When you tell me about local content, what does it mean? Is it that I'm looking at the value of the people? Because the whole idea of local content, local participation is to ensure that you retain value in country. Is that not it?
Indeed.
So I need to investigate these things. So when you come and throw out those numbers, you don't move me. That's the basic thing. You don't move me with these numbers. And so when the minister makes these statements, I get worried about it. And again, you see, he says that, look, Masa, the fact that yesterday I was behaving in a particular way that was uncouth doesn't mean that today, if I've improved on that, it means that I'm a very good person.
Yes.
You create the impression that, all along are this
mediocrity.
Yes.
Mediocrity.
Because you don't get up and say, that now for the first time we are ensuring that there will be a refinery in Ghana and that the lithium will be refined into a refined product before it is exported. Have we sat down to have we sat down to even make an assessment and see how much does it cost for us to make sure that the whole value chain is in Ghana? Is it possible to look at that? At what point can we? Because look, my brother, if you have the Minister of Energy going around everywhere, even in Dubai, talking about how they are bringing electric cars to Ghana, you have discovered lithium. Lithium is a key ingredient in the manufacture of batteries.
For the electric cars.
For the electric cars. Then you are saying to me, without me knowing as to why you think that you can't have the total value chain, you say, apart from China, nobody is doing it. How many countries have discovered lithium? And you expect that they should have been all over the place. And so, that also is a problem for me that we need to sit down and look properly. And now, you see the byproducts they have put there. These byproducts have their own economic value.
Yes. You talk about kaolin, silica,
Kaolin, yes.
feldspar.
I see, because it helps, particularly in the downstream sector. One typical example, the kaolin, one is the ceramics. You understand? We have companies in the Western region, other things that are involved in these things.
And you know what's interesting?
The question is that if you look at least, I'm just looking at the documents they have thrown into the public domain. They are asking that after coming into force in this particular lease, that in 4 months, the company must now explore and see what is the economic value of these things. The possibility of putting what they call factories and other things to take this stuff, because then this lithium refinery will then serve as a feedstock for these companies. Why on a Minerals Commission, with all the people they have, with all the expertise that they have, you see, sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Are you sure they have the expertise?
Look, yes,
Professor
they do.
for example,
You see, the problem that we have, Prof, is that in this country, unfortunately, and I say this because I've experienced it, particularly for nothing at all in the energy sector.
Right.
You have very skillful individuals in our organizations, but they simply do not act, not because they don't want to act, but they follow the dictates of the politician. They follow the dictates, and because of the fact that today, if I were to advise you that, look, I think that this is the way we should go, the fear I have is that I may lose my job. So what is the big deal? At the end of the day, I have to feed my wife and children. So I keep quiet over that thing. So yes, they do have those aspects in Minerals Commission. The challenge then is that, is it the case that they do not already even have data in terms of all these things? That is why I think it all then comes back to the issue of policy. Because if you have a state policy on this issue, on these minerals, it then will guide whoever is involved. That this is the way.
And that's the question, because you see, in the end, as we continue to ask for more, that we deserve more. One of the things that came up, I recall in 2010 when oil was discovered in commercial quantity, the Russian ambassador to Ghana at the time indicated that they have had the seismic data on the various areas where oil deposits are, in fact, crude oil deposits are in this country since 1950.
Oh, yes.
Right? And then you look at what the Geological Survey Department or authority now has about the kinds of minerals in this country. This company we're talking about, we understand, spent what, over $50 million doing their own prospecting, even up until, from 2020, in fact, 2012 to this moment. And so that question about we as a state investing in the process of prospecting, identifying the deposits of minerals that we have in this country, so that as we are asking for more, we have our skin in there as well.
Look,
how about that?
Alfred, I wish I had gotten you this, but maybe hopefully in the course of the week, because the estimates will come, I will show the budget for Ghana, what do you call it, Geological
Survey Authority.
Show you the budget. And I have, if you ask the Chief Executive of Minerals Commission now, for over 4 years now, I have been on his neck as to the finance, what they call the issue of financing this particular organization.
They could have done that.
Yes, yes. Because you know why? The budget they give to them, and I say this, the budget they give, sometimes hardly are they able to pay their salaries. Now you have a situation where Minerals Commission then gets up and comes and says that, look, we, as part of their work program, we are giving X amount of money to a geological survey to do some prospecting for us. I think that sometimes we need to learn. Let's compare that to the oil sector. In the oil sector, GNPC is our commercial entity, isn't it? Just like you have it. So GNPC is our commercial entity. We have Petroleum Commission that plays the same role as Minerals Commission. The law clearly states that, look, it becomes when you define, they do the assessment data and other things, and they gather the data, it becomes the property of what do you call it? Minerals Commission. What do you call them again? Petroleum Commission. And so when I come to look for, I'm coming to look at the data, I pay a fee. There's always a fee to go and look at the seismic data. So you pay a fee. Why is it that as a country, because we know that when we gather even this data, for somebody to just come into the data room and go out, the person pays money.
Pay money.
Why don't you invest in this particular authority?
Right.
To survey, and they have the people. to survey and get us that. They don't. 50 million, do you want to tell me that?
50 million.
50 million. Do you want to tell me that? 50 million. You see?
$50 million.
Yes.
That's $50 million.
We couldn't prospect this. So I agree that, look, we need to be a bit careful about it. And me, the last part I'm going to talk, you see, I saw the royalties issue there that he said they have increased from 5 to 10%.
Yes.
See, that is where let's not be, look, you know, the royalties basically is your gross income before tax, you take up just on top, you just take out the 10%.
Right.
That's how it's calculated. Now, you want to, and this is where actually the communities benefit, because it is in the royalty allocation that you will have portion given to the schools or whatever for the development of the particular community. Is it possible that we could look at these figures again? Because if the return, they are saying that, look, they need 17 months. And I listen very carefully.
Yes.
Look at the figures as you see.
That will be on the screen right now.
They need 17 months to pay back. So it means that they are assuming that they would have taken care of the cost by 17 months, they would have taken care of the cost. Every other thing post that. And so for the first 17 months, the state is not allowed to tax them, because they have to recover cost before they do. So the state is not allowed to tax
the payback
them.
period.
Yes. So 17 months. Look at this. They say, even though they say the lifespan span of the, what do you call it, the mine is supposed to be around 12 years. The lease is 15 years. The lease itself is 15 years. So if you take the 1.5 months thereabout out of that, it means that going forward, everything is just profit.
Well, let me bring
everything is just profit. And so then the question you ask yourself is that, will 10% be very good for us in terms of our royalties? And your justification for it is that Ghanaians should start clapping because yesterday our mining leases suggested that we were paying 5% royalties. So on the basis of that, 10% we have gone high.
Well, thank you. I mean, the fundamental issue here is that, just as the minister indicated, this certainly will have to go to Parliament, is it not? I mean, if you look at Article 268 of the Constitution, Clause 1, any transaction, contract, or undertaking involving the grant of a right or concession by and on behalf of any person, including the government of Ghana, to any other person or body of persons, however described, for the exploitation of any mineral, water, or other natural resource of Ghana, made or entered into after the coming into force of this Constitution, shall be subjected to ratification by Parliament. That is a prescribed, constitutionally mandated requirement. It is non-negotiable. It has to happen. Before we even get into the details of it, as Edward Bauer has indicated, the committee is going to look into it. But this constitutional provision has to be fulfilled. All right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But, you see, that's a constitutional provision. It takes so much strength, energy, integrity for the committee members to be able to do the kind of work that can get us better terms, like Honorable Ba is advocating. And you heard former Chief Justice Sophia Kufu Yasantua also coming up on it. Yeah, I think Yasantua is the one who is sustaining this debate. Yeah, because she's been crying that, look, we are not getting better terms. And I've heard other stations take it up. So, Honorable, what I can say is that, yes, as for the Constitution, is there. It says you should ratify. With all these points you are making, and I've seen other people complain too, that, look, we've never had enough of what should belong to us. So the question is whether when you go to the committee, when the agreement is brought to your committee, you guys will align, you see, in the interest of Ghana. That is where it is. Look, we all know Parliament. I'm not the first to say, even this Honorable Speaker, when he was in opposition, that time he was minority leader, that time he said, the parliamentarians take money to do the bidding of businessmen, lobbies, people come and lobby them. So the main problem is that, look, money will be shared and Charlie, all these things will just die down in no time. That's the plain truth. Money will be shared and then in no time. So that's the real challenge.
That's your suspicion.
Yes, absolutely.
But
and the speaker himself.
Is it a member of the committee?
Yes.
A member of the committee.
Yes.
A member of the committee is seated next to you.
Listen.
A member of the committee is seated next to you.
We know it. We hear it. We know it. We know places. Whether he levy, whether
a member of the committee is seated next to you.
But listen, democracy. This is how we have to fight. We can't be scared. We have to fight. It's the speaker himself who said it.
Okay.
When the speaker said that parliamentarians were taking money to do the bidding of the businessmen, who took him to any privileges committee? The speaker said.
Hold on.
Yes.
Yes. For example, I'll come to you.
Yes. When the speaker said it, that time he was not speaker. He was, I think, he was minority leader. I think somewhere when they were when he was not a speaker, nobody took him on. I think now Parliament accepts that. Listen. The fact that we hear money being shared and they passing bills and doing things in the interest of businesses and some personal interests and the rest, it's too many. So they can't be gagging people. At least the last one, the speaker himself said it. Nobody took him on. The point he said some. So honorable, that's where the pain is. As for on paper, we all know, why can't we get better terms? Why can't we get better terms? But let money be shared and then phew, that's it. Oh, they'll come back and say some other things, that, and then the case, Yamutu. So that is where it is. Because as for 268 plus 1, yes, it's what it is. That it should be what? Ratified. Ratification all depends on what? The input you make. It all depends on the input. And as for the input, the paper by itself, the constitutional provision like this can't help you. It's your character. It's your character, especially when we tie it in with my all-time favorite, the best philosopher ever, Socrates, saying that, politicians, he says, you guys, you are not honest. There's no good one amongst you. It's always about sectarian interest. You see it? So when you look at it, it's hard. Honorable, you've spoken well, the things you've raised, yes, and they tie in with what's of Ekufu, some of them, not all. She complained that no.
Right.
We can get better terms. But the question is, who will get up and fight that fight? Who will fight that fight? And that's how come we should maybe place a greater scrutiny on Parliament. And honorable, I'm not the one saying, even the Speaker, 3 Sundays ago, he referenced a new survey that says that Parliament now has the lowest trust rankings. The latest survey, it was the Speaker himself who referenced it, that Parliament got 8% in terms of trust that citizens have for the work that parliamentarians do. It says 8%. Even President Kufuor declaring agent got better. He got 14%. 14%. They say, the survey, they say President Kufuor, whose presidency was declared to be the second most corrupt institution in the GII report last year. In that survey that the Speaker himself referenced about 3 Sundays ago, he said the presidency got 14%, Parliament got 8%, and I think the judiciary got 10% or so. So, honorable, when we say
the
this,
judiciary was better than us.
You were last.
Okay.
You chopped last. You see the thing.
Okay.
So please, let's see what we can do. Like he said, there are experts. There are people who will tell you. And sometimes you meet the officers and the people in charge of the institutions, and they themselves cry. They say, look, can't we do better? Recently, I met one of the CEOs, and then he was saying, Martin, look, can't we get better? This very thing, how much are we entitled to? How much? And he was saying it with so much passion. A CEO, one of the resource governance institutions. Yeah, he felt very strongly about it. He said, look, will you want to read do your course in that area? How much is it we are entitled to? When I looked at him, the way he was reacting about how much are we entitled to, I said, oh. So you see here, lawyer, feeling very passionate about it. But the question is, how many people will support him? How many? People just go and share money, and then the topic is dead.
But see,
so you ask a lot more of Parliament.
Just some information. Just you see, one, you should know that the challenges of this going through Parliament is because of the partisan nature of our Parliament. That's the first point. The second point that I need you to know is that, look, as per the agreement, as per our Constitution, you actually need 2/3 of Parliament to vote to say they won't ratify this. That's what the Constitution says.
Yes.
So you can raise the issues. You can do anything. If the government of the day that is sponsoring this particular lease comes to Parliament and then says that, look, we are shipping everybody in line, You won't get
Okay.
into this.
Well, so you've referenced a number of times Sophia Kufuor's pronouncements
No, the
on
point I'm
this
just trying
matter.
to say is that
Gentlemen,
actually,
yes,
he
that
just,
is
okay, sorry.
clause 2. Article 268, clause 2. Yes, you need 2/3 of Parliament, the parliamentarians to have this ratified or otherwise. So this is what Sophia Kufuor said to me during the week when I spoke to her about this lithium deal. Take a look.
Due benefits must be floating around somewhere. That's why somebody will find this a perfect, wonderful, what did they say? It's the best. Yeah, they said it's favorable to Ghana and surpasses those of other lithium leases around the world. Well, maybe leases, but there are all kinds of lithium extraction formats which are much better. Lease is not necessarily the best methodology. There are so many other methodologies. There's joint venture. There's service contract. Of even the service contracts of many different permutations. If you like, I can later on send you write-ups on what other lithium countries are doing. Yes.
Well, so you disagree with the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources and the President making the point that this deal is the best deal for Ghana?
It's not the best. You know, it's like percentages. What's the base figure? You know, if you're from some super miserable formulation to this, then you will say that's the best Ghana has had. Yeah, maybe it is, but it's not the best Ghana could have had.
Well, it is not the best that Ghana could have had. That's Sophia Kufuor, former Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, when I spoke to her earlier in the week. I'm going to go for this quick break. When I come back, Professor Ransford Jampo is going to have his take on this. And then the former Deputy Attorney General, parliamentary candidate for Timpani on the ticket of the MPP, Joseph Penka, will also speak on this matter. Professor Jampo is from the constituency where this lithium has been found. Yes. So that's why you've seen a number of the writings about this lithium that he's put out throughout the week. So right after this quick break, he will talk. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Oh no.
Mommy, hurry up.
We are out of cereal and there's no time to make something else.
Good morning, honey. What's the panic?
We are running late and I don't have anything for Kojo's breakfast.
Fear not. I've got just the right thing for you.
McBerry breakfast cereal biscuits. I've heard great things about it.
Biscuits for breakfast?
Yes.
McBerry breakfast cereal biscuits are made with goodness of cereals and milk for a good start to your day.
Wow, Mom, this is delicious. Oh, Mom, can we have this every day?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Why not?
You know.
So let's hurry.
Start your day with a smile and McBerry breakfast cereal biscuits. Goodness for your mornings. This advert is FDA approved.
It's Light Up the City 2023 is back. It's bigger,
Longer and better. Join us and embrace the radiance of Ghana and look out for the Light Up the Parade experience happening on the 10th December 2023.
Be sure to take photos and share. Light Up the City 2023.
Embrace the radiance of Ghana.
This week on Ghana's Most Photogenic, we're taking it to the streets as our beautiful models dazzle you with captivating pictures as hawkers. Don't miss this.
We are coming to you from Osu Oxford Street.
It was scary, right?
Yeah, it's very scary.
And it was fun and exciting.
I'm expecting to bring out more interesting poses.
Ghana's photogenic beauty through the lens.
Ghana's most photogenic shows Saturdays at 8 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula.
Game Park.
Duffy's Health and Beauty.
Welcome to the brand new season of Drama in the Kitchen. This week, we have a very interesting dilemma. Our gentleman in Shiraba is going to be allowing two special ladies, his current girlfriend, Regina, and his ex, Elizabeth.
He says I'm troublesome, but I'm not.
You are not.
If I nag, I was nagging for a reason.
You don't like him, so like, who are you fighting?
Her constant calling
Consistently.
shows that she really wants to come back.
This is going to be quite interesting because we have Elizabeth, who's still chasing a comeback, and Regina, who is ready to secure her spot. So it's a big bite. Open up. Okay. Which lady will be the one to dazzle his taste buds? We'll find out this week on Drama in the Kitchen.
Drama in the Kitchen shows Sundays at 4 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Tasty Tom.
Monday morning, I saw her come.
This holiday season, the Atlantic Mall near Medina Atomic Roundabout is your one-stop destination for incredible deals. Join us from Tuesday 19th to Friday 22nd of December for the ultimate TV3 pre-Christmas sales fair. From 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. each day, experience heavy discounts on a wide range of products that will make your home merry and bright. Whether you're looking for the perfect gifts, festive decorations, or must-have items, we've got it all at prices you won't believe. The TV3 pre-Christmas sales fair is on Tuesday 19th to Friday 22nd of December from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. each day at the Atlantic Mall near Medina Atomic Roundabout. Bring your family and friends to enjoy the holiday spirit with special appearances from Santa Claus and exciting festive entertainment. Don't miss out on the joy of giving and saving. See you at the Atlantic Mall for the TV3 pre-Christmas sales fair. Come shop, save, and make this holiday season unforgettable. See you there.
Get ready for a day full of laughter, talent, and pure joy. The National Kids Festival is back for its second edition, and it is bigger and better than ever.
Calling all talented kids. Auditions for 2024 are in full swing. This is your chance to showcase all your amazing talents.
It's not just about individual talents. We also have break your school competitions in music, dance, video games, and so many more. Which school is taking home the crown for this year?
And the rate is just a cool 20 Ghana cedis.
Save the date, Saturday, 23rd December 2023 at the Aviation Social Center. It's going to be a total showdown and a blast.
The National Kids Festival and Awards, where talent meets laughter. Be there.
Kids Festival is sponsored by Tasty Tom, Heritage Christian College.
Welcome back to Key Point. We're live on 3FM 92.7 as well on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. A number of you sending messages on this. Lawyer Richmond Roxon is also an energy analyst, says, if the state is not conscious and deliberate about building capacity, the country will continue to chase minimal percentages when it comes to natural resources. Building capacity should be the focus. In other jurisdictions, these companies are employed to mine for the country because over the years, they've saved monies and from natural resources. Once you are not investing any money as a country, these are the challenges that you will face. And another one here says that Kwame Nkrumah always was 1,000 years ahead of us when he established the ceramics factory, just because Russia had also discovered lithium deposits as far back as 1950 in Ghana. This was his thinking. Alfred, go to the ceramic factory that Kwame Nkrumah established, and you will be sad today in Salt Pond, same place, Central Region. Professor Jampo, this is what is happening. You know that ceramic factory. Yes, it's actually been converted into something, I think, like is it a church or a warehouse? One of them. Yeah, the last time I went there.
Alfred, let me say, you see, academics, academics who have gone far, or if you're an academic and you want to go far, you must be humble. So, academics worth their salt. They don't tout their own credentials. That's why you don't hear me calling myself Professor Ransford Jampo. I call myself Ransford Jampo. You call me Professor.
Indeed.
I call myself Ransford Jampo. Now, I'm not here to blow my own horn, but I've heard some people asking that, but what do you know about natural resources? I was promoted to the rank of not associate professor, but full professor. And they opened a bracket and said, you're a professor with special expertise in governance and natural resources.
Great.
Now, I had not even paid attention to that, but you can go to ResearchGate and check me. My most cited article is on natural resources. It's titled Saving Ghana from Its Oil. Okay, so I know much about natural resources, and I'm sure that those who went to do this deal, they didn't know that I come from the area. I come from Fantiman. Let me speak Fanti a little to my people. Nananom, you know, I offending the youth in the area. Emede na watchi menye mwakasa. Menye offended omahin nkusukum menye wakasa. Omahin dominase dansebre kwebu wusi menye wakasa. Omahin ekunfi menye wakasa. Omahin mankesim wasupo menye wakasa. No onye youth group a wo achemfo no onye mfanteman nade na watchi menye ma meeting na yenyimaya aka to wanka wakoma nto woyem nyame na dom. Many of you are not illiterate at all. Nti mo record no dem bre ye kan no ye be hia ye meeting kakra next week so ye be ye na nhihye biara a yezibo gwa akwam dem bra obeye madam fomungu ya wanya na da eguzi a wanya ofomi ozi nsunsuando papa bebre mfantema no ye be fa dem kwa no do na wonka wakoma manyim kasa no I believe I gave you some hope. Na oye medede once wonya confidence wo mumu. Na mo de. Yantina ho madam bra watututu eguzi wo baby a watete o man no na kro na pansam no. Yamma kwan ma bi nkodo dem wo mfanseman yenye. Na
in other words.
Na ekwan bi a ye be fado a ye be kire the sana. Here's it. Your voting party na miss my nyamakra ya shronko enti dem kwan ya be fado a be manyipa yina hu de yes ya shronko no wo dem lithium a wenya wo pede wo botu wo pede wo bobro ye nkaba fa ya beti na wachichire nyama bi wode hye wateto ikro ne pansa wo mbra wo manya bibi papa bi emfim no dem kwan na ye be fado enti no won hwe mayim next week ayemfo ye hia 3 days time emde many youth no so yebesen shebium kwanya ya mfa ye strategy na ya mfa ntugana
you not put your strategy out
your phone na menkasa ya mfa ntugana na maba samereba maba ye tafo ma ye nhyebu we are smarter than the politician ye bet sure that infanteman no onye central region one in school papa one watch the papa wo ti adwim ye gbe yan ma politician biara have baked Ombo roye kaba mfa ye beti no ma ye coins no kan che na wa ye papa. All right, let me to it. Okay. I'm just saying that you don't
he's spoken to his people, so he's coming to.
I'm just saying that I've spoken to those who matter in the area. Okay. I've met with the 4 paramount chiefs. We've spoken. I held a meeting with the youth groups. We know what we have discussed. Okay, and these people they can go about buying and bribing their way. but they come and meet us there. They will have to kill us before they mine. Okay? Let me say this, and then I'll come to what I recommend, because I don't trust what Parliament can do. Now, in modern best practices, you see, the exploitation of mineral resources is supposed to be guided by certain agreement and blueprints. You have what you call the joint venture agreement, you have the service contract agreement, and you have the colonially imposed concessionary agreement. So 3. If you want me to put it in popular part, so when we talk about the joint venture agreement, what happens is that the state itself would come and hold a certain share and percentage, share in the company that is going to be mining.
Right.
So the natural resource, so that whatever is achieved from it, because the state belongs or is part of the mining company, the state is not shortchanged. Then you have we have a service contract arrangement that says that, look, if you come to my country and then you come and mine, whatever you mined from the ground belongs to the states. So the states will take whatever you have mined and then pay you the cost of your mining, plus, if you like, a profit margin. Okay? So, you see, you mine, the state owns it, and then pay you. So, how much did you bring in mining? We didn't have money to do the exploration, and we didn't have money to do the exploration, and we didn't also have the money to mine. So, you brought $100, okay, to do the exploration and to mine. When we find the lithium, it belongs to us. No, but see, it beats my mind. Listen, we are here. Somebody tells us that there is lithium here.
Yes.
TV3, you don't have money to get into the soil, okay, to mine the lithium. So I come in here. I said I have the resources. So I mine and bring the lithium out. Who will it belong to?
All lands are here, and the natural resources are held in trust.
So it's supposed to belong to you. But under the other agreement, arrangement I'll talk about later, it gives ownership to the one who has mined. But under service contract, when this thing is mined, the ownership is still, for the state. Then the state will tell you that, look, you spent $100 in mining, so get your $100. Everybody gets into business for profit. So in addition, if you like, we'll give you additional $100, okay, as your profit margin. Take it and go away. Then we would own the natural resources, whether we would chew it, whether we would pomade ourselves with it, whether we would export it in its raw state, whether we refine it, it belongs to us. We'll decide. Then you have the concessionary arrangements, colonially imposed concessionary arrangements, that says that if you come with your resources and you mine, it's like what you mine and you bring out is for you. You take it and then give us some. So you see, fanciful, there's a difference between chempe on your farm obi. Okay, chempe na farm obi. See, farm obi no on your there. Nkan ye sure ni yedza agro obi nya ne dzibe na akaji hwim finisema na se farm obi ja na amane bi.
So what do you mean?
No, what I'm saying is that the current arrangement is in line with farm obi. They will go and take it, and then they will give us some, instead of we owning it and then paying them off. They are two different things. Okay, so under the farm obi arrangement that they are operating, what happens is, you see, so they will tell you, we'll give you 1% of royalty annually. The IEA did some conservative estimate, and they said that the 1% amounts to about 6 billion. And because they think that we are so poor, we have not seen money before, and we all went to IMF just to fight for 3 billion that is not even being given to us at a go. The moment they mention 6 billion, then we should be shaken because they think we have not seen money before. But compare the 6 billion to what they are also going to be getting annually. So 6 billion.
So the Community Development Agreement Fund.
6 billion. That's just by way of example. You get 6 billion for the community. Don't forget that 6 billion for the community go to the state, and then the state will later bring some to the community. And you know how difficult it is to even access resources from the state. Go and see how the District Assembly Common Fund, the delays, in disbursing it and all that. So 6 billion. But compare 6 billion and they are getting 6 million. We are going to be getting 6 million, okay, a year as community development, whatever. And then they are going to be getting 24 billion. 6 million, yeah. I mean, the IEA did that kind of conservative.
The projection they made was 24 billion annually.
Annually, and
that's
then if
year.
you are giving us annually, just conservatively, 6 million for community development. Okay, compare 6 billion and 20, not 1 billion, 6 million and 24 billion. And the
dollars,
yeah, $6 million to the community, which may not even be given to them, and then $24 billion to the one who is mining. See, that's what we refer to as farm mobi. And so we want that farm mobi arrangement to stand instead of owning it. But what is wrong with this? Get the resources, own it. How much did you spend in exploring it? $100 will pay you. We'll give you a profit margin of another $100. Take it and then we own it. Compared to they coming to own it and then be giving us tokens. So you see, because the minister and because the government and because the Minerals Commission know that we are poor, what they are doing is that they are telling us, oh, you get this amount of money. You get this amount of money. You get this amount of money. But they are not telling us how much those mining agencies or companies are going to get. That one they are not telling us. And they are not telling us how much they themselves, the minister, the mining agency, the mining commission's head, and then all those parastatals and government agencies that are involved in these deals, they are not telling us how much they are going to be getting. Listen, I don't trust anybody. Don't trust any politician who tells you that he means well. For you, they don't mean well.
You don't trust any politician.
I said it is not possible that the minister will come and tell us that this is the best of deal. You can't tell us. If it's the best of deal, we'll have to know. It doesn't lie in his mouth to tell us. How much is he, the minister, going to get? Has he told us? How much is not a Minerals Commission going to get? Has he told us? And how much is the mining agency or company? How much are they going to get? See, they are not telling us all those things. I gave this as an example. $6 million against 24 billion. I'm saying million and billion. $6 million as against 24 billion. Okay? So please, let nobody fool us. Your son undertake an exam, scores 20%. And then the next time another son of yours goes to undertake same exam and he scores 22%, and then you want us to be clapping for the 22% because it's an improvement of the 20%. They are all fail marks. Okay? So we are not ignorant. Okay? We are not an ignorant people at all. And then we are saying that if you go to so many countries that are major lithium manufacturing countries, like Mexico, like Bolivia, like Chile, and like Argentina, they have even more an improved model for mining lithium, even beyond the service contract thing that I'm talking about. Yeah. Why are we not learning from them? Now, people are telling us that it has to go to Parliament, and Parliament must, look, with the greatest of respect to the Jinapos, 1 for 1 against, we don't trust Parliament. There's nothing that they can do. People are hungry. Members of Parliament are looking for money to go contest their parliamentary primaries. And so, these people, they will succeed in buying everybody and in lobbying everybody. Oh,
Honorable Bauer, you let me finish.
You have a member of parliament.
He's a member of parliament. So, when they bring it to you, collect. But don't you have evidence? The history of this particular parliament that we have is a parliament that backs, but when it has to act, it doesn't act.
You have instances where parliament has acted.
Look, haven't we been here? Oh, look, we will not approve this. This appointee will not approve him. This one won't do it. They will come out to shout. But when it gets to the crunch, then they will disappoint. It's been one too many. It's never happened that Parliament said, we are going to do this, we are going to prevent this, and they were able to do it. They will not approve the budget. This e-levy will not agree. No. Oh, wait. Oh, but well, that one, okay, well, maybe 1/10. Don't worry. but they don't. So the point is that I do not trust Parliament in anything that they want to do. They will be backing. Okay, but the solution, I have two solutions. You see, number one, Ignatius Kutuwe Champon, when he became head of state and he saw that we had gotten ourselves, so tied with ill debts that he could not understand. He came up with the Yentia policy. We all too might say, won't pay. What can you do? He said, we won't pay. Yes, he repudiated all foreign debts. He said, won't pay. You see, I can see what the minister is doing and what the MPP administration is now doing. I describe what they are doing now as suffering from an end of service syndrome. The minister is suffering from an end of service syndrome. See, where he feels that he's going away. So my endaded bande, whatever he wants to get it now. Okay, at the concessional arrangement, they know what they'll get. The mine itself will take place in 2025. So you get what you have now, and then you go, and then the next time they are mining, you are not even there. Let me say this: the election, if this is how they are going to be going, the 2024 election, I see it as a more contest between the NDC and Alan Shemantin.
Okay.
Any of them who wins, I will urge that party or that government to repudiate this agreement. We are a sovereign nation. We cannot sit here for anybody to come from his country, aided and with the connivance of our own political elites, to impose agreements that are inimical to our development on us. And so, Mr. John Mahama, Mr. Alan Shemantin, the two of you, if this is how the MPP is going to go, then I'm saying that the election is between the two of you. If any of you win, I am urging you, make it part of your campaign promise today that if you win, you will repudiate that agreement and ensure that the right thing is done. We've been cheated for far too long. How come Muammar Gaddafi was getting 79% of the exploration of his oil in his country?
Okay, well...
No, I've not finished. Please.
Round up for me.
No, when they are talking, they tell them
round up. I did. Round up for me.
Listen, how come he was getting 79%? I mean, look at us. Look at Nigeria. Saudi Arabia has oil. Nigeria has oil. Look at them in terms of development. That's how Pop Kagame said that if you see the owners of natural resources going to IMF to beg for money or for assistance, it means there is something wrong with their heads. The second solution is that, like I indicated, I've already discussed with my people. I'm saying these people, they will buy everybody. When they see you talking, they will be calling you. I've been receiving some calls. But me, for example, I believe in my conviction. Okay. So they will be calling everybody. They will bribe their way. They will be talking to members of parliament. They will be, our parliament, it backs by doesn't act. So they will be talking to all of them. At the end of the day, they will get their licenses and everything to go mine. But when they get to the community, they'll come and meet us there. And we've decided that they will then have to kill us before they mine. So let the government in power brace itself they will have to slaughter all of this before they mine. You know, there was a community, I think, somewhere in Ashanti region that prevented some miners from mining because he said, yeah, you went to the government, they have given you all the licenses to come and mine. But when they got to the community said, the chief said, the land belongs to us, we will not allow you to mine. And he prevented that. So I've told my people that if all these things, all this advocacy and all these interventions aimed at ensuring that we get a good deal does not materialize.
Well,
then,
listen
to me. If they don't get to materialize, then what we are saying is that we will go there. Listen, they will come and meet us there. They'll come and meet us in the community. They will have to kill all of this, before they mine. And this one, I am passionate about it. I come from that community. And you see, to say that Central region is among the poorest regions in Ghana, go and see Infantiman. And we found this, and you don't want it to benefit us. You don't want it to benefit the nation. You know, last 2 weeks I was here when John Mahama was talking about his 24 hours, our production thing. You remember I brought this to the fore that beyond that, Mahama should look at how they can renegotiate certain agreements to ensure that we get the best from our gold and from our oil. Okay? We are thinking people. So, Mr. Mahama, I'm telling you once again, if you are looking for the mandate of the people, I want you to make this also as part of your promise. If they fail to listen to us, your government would have every right to repudiate every ill-conceived and inimical agreement in this lithium deal.
Okay.
They must there will be consequences. But when a champion said that, there was consequence, but because he had been able to galvanize the support of the people behind him, the nation survived.
There was one thing that, Professor Jampo, thank you. There was one thing that.
Are they going to govern Ghana for us? 50 million. We don't have 50 million.
So,
what is wrong with us?
Professor Jampo, thank you. You made your point. Now, I gave you the last word because all these concerns still rest on an action or inaction.
Allow me to be interjecting you
government.
Because this one I'm passionate about.
So, after taking all these things into consideration, although this agreement we see certain improvement in specific areas as compared to hold on, Professor Jampo. As compared to what we have existing.
Absolutely. Basic.
There is also...
It may not be enough.
No.
What is enough? What is not enough?
No, hold on. Professor Jampo. Hold on.
20 and 22%, are they not all F?
Professor Jampo, you don't...
What are you talking about?
Professor Jampo, you don't have the floor. Professor Jampo, hold on. Professor Jampo,
I'll be interjecting.
Professor Jampo,
please.
Respect the platform with all due respect, please. You have spoken. Let Joseph Benka speak.
Speak Ghana.
Let's respect the decorum on this platform. Thank you. Now, taking into consideration all these concerns that have been raised, I want to find out specifically what exactly should be the response going forward, especially because of the specific issues that have been raised about the fact that, looking at it, we actually deserve more than we are actually being given. Mr. Benka.
First of all, let me thank you so much. And I have listened carefully to my three colleagues who are panel members of and I think that by and large, the summary of what I will say they have said is that they care for the country. That's what I will say. The three of them, what they have submitted, they are all speaking for the nation. And I'll speak for the nation. But this is the point. I watched a video of Professor Lumumba that I was privileged to host in my village last year at a festival.
Okay.
You know, he made a statement that, and it's now like a cliche, that we have all the resources in Africa and we are poor. And he got a response from another person. It was a very short video. The person says, you have all the resources, you don't have the technology to exploit. So those who come to exploit, take it away and give you nothing. That was the response a white voice gave. Now, if you, I'm going to digress a little. If you go to a place like DR Congo, the mineral deposit in DR Congo alone is the worth of it is more than the entire U.S. economy. Only the mineral deposit in that country. But go check the pervading poverty in certain parts of DR Congo. Now, let me import it to Ghana. It is true that over the period, we have as a nation deliberately undertaken certain policies and agreements with international bodies and companies that may be detrimental to our development. It may be the case. And we've shortchanged ourselves over a long period of time. It may be the case again.
No, don't say it may be. It is.
So, because the fundamental question we should be asking ourselves is, what was the policy consideration and the basic economic argument that convinced us as a nation that most of our oil agreements and mineral exploration agreements, we went for a 5% royalty? What was the fundamental consideration as a nation that we did that? Now, I shift a little bit and I make this point. What has been the reaction of some technical experts and industry players to this particular agreement? You recall that a renowned person like Sam Jonah made a statement on this matter, and quite a number of people made statements on this matter. What I want us to agree before we even proceed is that fundamentally, the benefits that we are going to get from this agreement that will accrue to us as a state are better than the previous agreements we had. Even though, and I want to go on that, even though there is still room for improvement, which to a very large extent, I agree. But you see, again, because of our economic circumstances and the fact that we do not, in most cases, have the resources to go into exploration and etc., prospecting and etc., then we rely on those companies and entities foreign that have the technical and financial muscle and strength to come and do the exploration and prospecting, so that we then enter into agreement with them for the benefit of the nation. Now, if you look at it, I mean, all of us are aware that by the figures raw as they are given, it is very clear that all indications there is a marked improvement over the previous agreements that we had. But Prof says that F is an F, and if 10 is F, 20 is F. But 20 is near a pass mark than 10.
Oh,
hold on.
Is that you?
I am saying that 20 is near a pass mark than 10. What I'm saying is that I am not saying that the agreement as it stands is the best. I have not said so at all, and I do not intend to say so. But I'm saying that it is a better agreement compared to all previous agreements that we have entered into. And there is no debate about that. In your own submission,
it's only the best that is good for Ghana, not what is good enough.
You know, let me tell you this. You have to stagger, and you will eventually get there. But because of our situations and circumstances and the times that we live in, I will say, and we all agree that it's a better deal, but we need the best. That's the argument we are all making. That it's a better deal, but we need the best. And starting with this particular thing, and then there are some of the things that you said that are purely speculative. Individual benefits that are going to be derived from this. There will be no documentary proof whatsoever, and that will remain in the realm of conjecture and speculation, wild as it may be.
But
and I like to stay away from that.
But you know,
as a lawyer,
I don't stay away from them.
I do not have
I don't stay away from them because we know. We know what happens. Please, we know what. Let us not pretend. Don't say that it's conjecture and that the minister is not going to get anything. The minerals resources they are not going to get anything, and we are conjecturing.
For example, let him.
Don't say that. You're a politician.
I'm saying that, Professor Jampo, if you are pushed to strict proof, all that you will say will remain in the realms of conjecture and speculation.
We have not physically seen.
You are only engaging in anticipatory breaches. That you are anticipating positively that people are going to individually benefit, but you will not be able to provide concrete evidence to substantiate what you are saying. And I continue to say that you know for a fact that it will be difficult for you to say that individuals are going to benefit and you provide evidence to that effect. When you read the agreement, is there any portion of it that says that people are going to individually benefit? As you have stated, and I'm limiting myself to the agreement before me. Any other thing?
Not is in all the realm of realities can be proven with evidence.
So the point is that
not all realities can be proven.
You allow me.
Thank you. Oh yes.
You allow me to land.
Joseph Penka.
My point has been very clear. I agree that we need to improve on the benefits the state stands to derive from these agreements. I totally agree with all of you. But I also want to say, and I do not hesitate in saying so, that what we have in this particular agreement is an improvement. It may not be good enough, but it's an improvement over. It's an improvement over the previous agreements that we have had on all fronts. And if you read it, it's very clear. 10 to 13, 5 to 10, and etc. It may not be sufficient. It may not be sufficient. And I stated that. But in the end, if we make progress, then we can call for more and then negotiate better. In any case,
we'll get let me understand this.
What I want to urge government and players in the ministry and the state institutions is that we should listen to the public as well and incorporate the views that are supposed to enrich this particular agreement before Parliament takes custody of it and looks at it to be able to ratify it and etc. Because we should not wish away what people are saying. Some are raising very genuine concerns, and in doing so, as Ghanaians, this debate that we are engaging in is meant to enrich whatever agreement we are entering into, and to bring out maximum benefits for the people of Ghana. So, I mean, where the criticisms and cynicism that people are raising are such that we find some genuineness in whatever they are raising, then aspects of that can be incorporated so that maximum benefits are derived. Because remember that ultimately government is there to maximize the happiness of the people in accord with the directive principles of state policy in our constitution. So because of that attempt to maximize the happiness of the people by the directive principles of state policy, government then engages in acts consciously that will be able to satisfy the economic circumstances of times. But in doing so, again, there are difficulties. And this is one of them. So I think that this agreement may not be a perfect one. It may not be the best for us, but it's a better one over the previous agreements that we have had. And we need to improve on it as we move on. But all that I will urge is that we can incorporate some of the concerns that are being raised into this particular agreement and come up with an improvement over whatever we have had before Parliament takes custody of it and ratifies.
But before we get to, you say that we have to get to a point where we can then demand better. What do you mean? Are we not at that point where we can demand better?
No, we can always demand better things from government from day one.
No, I'm talking about or the day after. In the case of this agreement, for instance.
So what I have said is that, and that is why I mean, my brother Edward Barr stated it. My brother also stated, and Prof also stated, all of us agree that there is an improvement. But again, as we have indicated, and as there is some level of unanimity among the panel on the table, there is a need for us to improve upon the agreement to reap maximum benefits. Because we are looking at how much is going to accrue to the company and how much we are going to get. And we are saying that maybe what we are getting is a pittance compared to what the company is going to reap and all that. But also remember that no investor comes to invest his money without the thought of profit. Every investor who brings in money to invest is intending ultimately that he's going to make profit out of it. In any case, as a nation, as a state, if we had the resources and we had the technical know-how and we had trained engineers and etc. to extract and exploit these resources and own 100% of it, we could have gone ahead to do that. But I don't think that there's any government that has attempted that in the past, at least in the Fourth Republic, where ownership of such agreements are basically government. And that we have always been soliciting for assistance and cooperating with entities foreign to be able to do this exploitation, and then we have the benefits that would be derived to the state.
So while we're asking for more, we develop capacity to own. Yes, President.
Then
I'll go for a quick break.
Let me say this. Alfred, please. I'm begging you. It's not because I want to be interjecting, and it's just that sometimes I get so passionate about some of these things. So this is never to make your work difficult. So take control of the program. I'm not going to be interjecting. I mean, I'll just ensure that you go ahead moderating the program. Otherwise, I know my incessant interjection makes your work quite difficult. It's not going to happen again. Right.
Okay, but
thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll go for this quick break. On the basis of this, I have to take a quick break. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. Stay with us.
It's time for golden season. Time to try your luck. The rules are simple. You can place bets on any sports event. Get promotional tickets. Take part in prize draws. What's the season? It's golden season. Time to try your luck. Use the promo code to get your welcome bonus.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below 18 years. Gambling can be...
So secure your spot, grab a ticket, slots are filling up fast. Come and join me, Helen, and the rest of the 3FM crew for the all-white party.
Yeah. I pull up on the future, screaming hallelujah.
Don't forget, it's the 28th of December. It's a Thursday. You don't want to miss out on this ultimate party experience. It's a party of all parties this December. Come in your all white and let's party together.
3FM's 28th December all-white party. I will be there. See you when I see you.
Into the future with you. For all your exclusives, 3 Entertainment will be there to capture the fun, the glitz, the glamour, and the most exciting moments on the night.
It's a 3FM all-white party on December 28th at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, starting at 7 p.m. Please call 0531 100 927 and 0532 200 927 for your table reservations today.
Prepare to embark on an epic journey. The stage is set, the lights are on, and the stakes have never been higher. Welcome to Mentor Season 12, the ultimate musical reality showdown, where 60 extraordinary talents will face off in a battle of passion, creativity, and showmanship. The ride as these musical geniuses take you through 13 weeks of musical showdowns. Catch the Mentor Season 12 show live every Sunday at 8 p.m. on TV3. This is TV3 Mentor Season 12. The world awaits you.
Mentor is brought to you by Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil and Napa Foods Sense Body Spray.
Bell Ice, Vitamilk, Dragnet, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula, and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula. Darling Lemon Drink. Frutelli Calipo.
And I made a Moadam for me. Your friend are well. On coming for me. Or brain. Bibi awele baby and ye. Or fat girl gra, not get a jano. Ni bibia and ye, and on one year, a yaba. On one day, on one day. So I want to help him. And I'm my friend on Obeki. On one day, oh, Janet, say already. Oh, so Janet, and then yet.
Oh, bre. Oh, say, catch me, say, Obiso bre. If we are seeing
a bear almost stages, memoir stage 1, I will stage 88, or bread rough. Oh, no. Ni phone button so mo. Et two friends that are the cling. On the phone that you ding.
All Shall Pass shows Sundays at 5:30 p.m. on TV3.
Mac Brown's Kitchen. Mac Brown's Kitchen.
I'm ready to send me to Mac Brown's Kitchen. New season, new stations. Hey, my Brown's Kitchen, oh. Now, I want TV so I check. I knew who you check, but the Yamiani and Chakrano, but TV3. Mimi Devia, Anne, 5 to 6 p.m. Nana Yabasha Wati, Minimi Kunum, my Basho, Sasako, Ghana Fodo. Hey, that's it.
McBrown's Kitchen shows this and every Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by Herbal.
Welcome back. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, the DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Now, this week, the courts slapped 4 years and 6 months on Aisha Wang. The Deputy Attorney General, after that ruling, indicated that the office was satisfied, only for us to wake up the next day to a statement from the Attorney General himself indicating that, well, they are, yes, they congratulate the judge for showing so much commitment to having this case prosecuted within a 1 year, almost a 1 year period, but then again, he has concerns. This is what he said. While applauding the efficiency of the justice delivery system witnessed in the trial of Aisha Wang, the Attorney General will, however, test the soundness of the decision of the trial court to punish the accused person under Act 900, which is the old law, by filing an appeal at the Court of Appeal against the sentence in order to ensure that the new sentencing regime imposed on by Act 995 is applied to the accused person. And what that means is that if you're applying Act 995, all things being equal, if his appeal succeeds, Aisha Wang will be faced with between 15 years and 25 years jail term based on the offenses that she has been charged with. Let me start off with you. Yes, that's it. Lawyer Martin Pebu on this.
I should start.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yeah, so, right. Now, you see, the testing the soundness of the law, right? Let's go straight to the jugular. It's within the Attorney General's discretion to test. You see, I say so because, yes, and I know Honorable Penka comes strongly under Article 19, Clause 6. Myself, I've heard the Deputy Attorney General or that. That's Tuya saying that no, 19, Clause 6 is clear and the rest. But let's get this distinction. You see, we are lawyers, but we are also participating in what the governance of the country. So sometimes you just don't read the black and white letter and they say, oh, that's it. Sometimes you start a conversation. So the Attorney General's decision to it's a good conversation. Test. Because, yes, they have this look. When such a thing happens, use the new law in sentencing at the time of sentencing the accused. Just like this case. So meaning that there's a certain law at the time the crime is committed, and by the time the person is tried and convicted, the law is changed. The U.S. Sentencing Guidelines Commission has been saying that use the new law, and the courts have been rejecting it. So what I'm saying is that let's distinguish the arguments. I'm saying that when the AG goes on appeal, it's a conversation he's starting. It's all for the governance. If the court say, look, listen, we are sticking with this 19 Clause 6, like the way the U.S. courts have been doing, so be it. If somehow they find within that, no, okay, remember that this 19 Clause 6, we have kind of copied from the U.S. and also the UK. Even in the UK, there's a case of R versus Dobson, where Lord Tracy, in sentencing the accused, was faced with such a similar case. R versus Dobson is quite a popular case on the internet. If you Google it, you'll find Dobson, right? Then listen to what she said in saying that she must use the old law, not the new one, like we're saying. And I know that we are part of the people who urge the Attorney General to test the law. It's testing, it's a conversation. So please, don't come at us that the law is too clear, don't try this, don't try this. Even OSP is going to test the law on the whether public elections. Public elections. So let's test. It's a conversation, and I don't know, maybe I have to repeat once again. I'm at this table today. I'm part of this panel because I started testing laws, and a lot of them the Supreme Court agreed, and it's made our democracy better, made our rights for suspects and accused persons better. So don't worry, let him test. Okay, listen to what Lord Tracy had to say in sentencing the accused in R versus Dobson. She says, the law dictates that I must sentence you by reference to your age and maturity at the time of the crime. I cannot sentence you as the matured man you are now. In addition, I must sentence you in accordance with the practice in force before the coming into force of Schedule 21 of the Criminal Justice Act 2003, which now governs sentencing for murders. Okay? Then she goes on. In modern times, adults... No, let me just go to another part. I am also required by Schedule 22, paragraph 10A of the same act not to pass a sentence, not to pass a heavier penalty than would have been imposed before that act came into force. So you see the 1906, and so on and so on. Then she went on, then she complained that, yes, listen, that there was some discontent from the section of the public about this judgment, as justice was long delayed and blah, blah, I understand people are unhappy. Right. So these things have happened where other situations... Yes, that's what I'm saying. This one confirms. But remember the argument we are saying. So Dobson confirms that 1906 is okay. And I'm saying even the same US, let's get it. They've been saying that for them, they'll go with the constitution that don't give a heavier penalty. But I'm saying that the Sentencing Guidelines Commission in the US has been saying use the new law. So that conversation, let's distinguish. Is that conversation the AG is going to start? Let him start it. Let's see how our social pans out.
Mr. Kwenka.
Yes.
Mr. Kwenka, yes.
That conversation can only lead to one thing. That is if we have to do a constitutional amendment. Because if you look at the 1906, it is so clear that unless we go for an interpretation and then the events of Salah and Attorney General happen, that simple issue comes up and then the interpretation is given to it that nobody ever anticipated. Otherwise, the provision is clear. And immediately the sentencing came out and other people started expressing their opinion that we did the amendment and increased it to 15 years and etc. I just said that, look, people had forgotten about Article 19.6, which is very clear on this issue, that it is looked at the time the offense was actually committed. What was the sentencing regime at that particular moment, not at the time of sentence. You know, and so you have to distinguish the two. Because the time of sentence, the regime had changed. But the law says that you should give the punishment in accord with the regime at the time the offense was committed. And it was, if you look at it, it was between the period 2017, 15 onwards. Because our constitution is France on retroactive legislation. That you cannot take a decision today and say that it will take effect from yesterday. And it's very clear that we learned it from our history, that it has ever been used maliciously. So, for me, if we want to start a conversation, as you have said, nothing prevents us. But, I mean, to what extent are we going? Because she indicated or gave a reason why she had to apply the old law instead of the new law. If it were the new law, it's very clear that the sentencing regime should have been a minimum of 15 years and with a fine or
Let me seek a clarification. When we keep saying 15, are we saying that we accept that Aisha is a Ghanaian? Because it's 20 where you're a non-Ghanaian.
Non-Ghanaian, sorry. So 20 where you're non-Ghanaian, 15 for Ghanaian situation. So what we are actually putting across is very clear. For me, we don't need, even though I accept that we should trigger a conversation, but the question is to what end will that conversation take us to in the light of a clear provision in the Constitution that tells us what to do in circumstances like that. I did a matter last year, you know, and that one was about repeal, where a law has been repealed. The law was repealed like today, and the following day it took effect. Now, my client committed the offense earlier, and then he was charged under the new law. I went there, and the justices spoke that if you look at the State Proceedings Act, where there is no saving in the new act, you go under the State Proceedings Act, and then you come under the new law. And
Interpretation Act.
Yeah, the Interpretation Act. So that was what they applied.
Okay.
And I think that they got it right.
All right.
In my opinion. And it's the same thing in this. 19.6 for me is very clear on the matter.
I see. Thank you. Mr. Bauer.
I'm not going to talk politics. Sorry, law. I'm just going to tell you exactly what I feel.
2 minutes.
What 2 minutes?
Yes.
I think that, look, the Attorney General is doing this just to save his face. You recall that just as part of this fight against Galamsey, the issue of Frimpong Boateng's report that came, and the opinion he gave, and the backlash he got. Particularly when there were clear evidence. For example, if you take the video, Saradonko's case, if you take the issues of the excavators, If you take even the issue of even they buy mining leases that they were selling, that they had evidence, the person even said that he had recordings and other things. Then you have a situation like this, and the man comes to write and says that I don't think that any of these things there's any evidence towards it. So I see these particular actions as a way of trying to just save his face. Look, let me tell you, this current government has failed when it comes to the issue of fighting against illegal mining. Indeed, now there's this level of audacity that they can even contemplate going to places like Kakum and other things, wanting to go there and make. You know this Akonta. Oh, you know this Akonta mining thing.
Explanation was offered to this.
No, you see this Akonta thing. I personally asked the Minerals Commission. I said, look, when this issue came up, you issued a statement saying that look, we have not given any mining lease to Akonta to mine in that. My next question to Martin Ayisi was that, have you gone to check as to whether actually there's no mining going on there? You know the answer he gave me. That does not fall under his jurisdiction because it is with Forestry Commission. This is exactly what he said. But I think that Martin, you will go. You are the people going.
Yeah, we've reported to the CID, and we still call up Madam Faustina.
So I mean, some of these things. That is. But I know you are going to close it. I'm begging you for some, just a minute to do something. That's a personal
30 seconds.
Thing. That's yes. We have what do you call it? One of my party executives, a former executive, a mother and other things, called Sheila Dongo, who passed just about 2 days ago. The death has been a blow to the whole constituency. Right. And I want to use this platform to extend. Yesterday I tried calling the husband. Right. I couldn't get him. To extend my deepest condolences to the family. And hopefully we'll all be there to support the family.
Thank you. Professor Jampo.
Well, let me summarize everything that I've said. Number one, okay, a bit about this Aisha one thing. I think the reaction of the Attorney General suggests to me, or it should be a wake-up call on all of us for us to look at our sentencing regime and then the punishments that are given. We have to review them so that we ensure that those who run afoul of our laws, you come from your town, your country to come and destroy our environment, will have a stiffer sentencing and punishment for you. That's number one. Number two, Martin, we have an agenda. Help me to sue the special prosecutor. Yes. Number three, only in the lithium deal, only what is best is good for Ghana, not what is good enough. No politician can arrogate to himself the right to tell us what is in our interest. We know what is in our interest. We don't trust anybody in fighting our cause for us because these foreigners have what it takes to bribe everybody. And so we'll do our own fight. I said they would have to meet all of us to be able to go into the ground.
Hopefully it doesn't get there. Professor Ramso Jampo is a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Legon. And then let me also put it out there that we have checked. And when you mentioned this earlier, Bauer, we have done our own independent checks. We cannot, and on this one, cannot independently confirm that the controller has enlisted party members on the government payroll. That is what we have to put on record. Joseph Kwenka is the former Deputy Attorney General and then also the NPP candidate for the Tempane constituency. Martin Kpebu is private legal practitioner. Edward Bauer is a member of parliament for the Bongo constituency in this 8th parliament and a member of the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament. On behalf of the rest of the team, I want to say thank you for joining us. Join us same time next week. Have a great weekend.